coming to you live from Hingham, Massachusetts, but also the Workers Credit Union studios at Fitchburg Access Television. It's FATV's coverage of Fitchburg High School football. I'm John Gugerty, joined by Dan Bolek, and even though Dan looks like he's right next to me, no, he's several feet away. We are maintaining social distancing here in the studio at FATV. Dan, it is March, and we're playing football, and you and I are like 10 feet away from each other. This is weird, right?
It is very much weird, John, to say the least. It's been a weird year. It's been a weird week for both of these teams. We were supposed to be at Doyle Field. We were supposed to be bringing you the 139th edition of the rivalry.
It was supposed to be Thanksgiving on a Friday night in March. So it could have been weirder, but in other ways, as you said, Dan, it's just been weird.
It has been, to say the least, and at the end of the day, Fitchburg is going to be playing their season opener here in this Fall 2 season, and they've had to hike about 75 miles on the road to the southeast.
They had about as long a commute as I did getting here from West Springfield, which isn't usually the case. Fitchburg, as you folks know, was originally intended to play Leominster. Leominster unable to play today due to COVID protocols. They unfortunately had a player test positive. Hingham was also available. They were scheduled to play Duxbury, and Dan, Duxbury's been in the news, haven't they?
Yes, Duxbury has found themselves in the news for all of the wrong reasons. As I wrote here in my stats, that game called off on Wednesday afternoon around the same time as the rivalry was called off after the Dragons had used anti-Semitic and potentially other inappropriate and derogatory language in their game against Plymouth North on March the 12th. So that game's been canceled. All of their games this weekend had been canceled. Their coach has been relieved of his head coaching duties. It's just been very strange, but these two teams able to make something happen, and so we're going to have football here.
Yeah, these two teams did nothing wrong. Hingham did nothing wrong. It was Duxbury's horrible choices that put them unable to play. Leominster, unfortunately, unable to play. Fitchburg and Hingham potentially left high and dry. Instead, hey, I'm free on Friday. You're free on Friday. Why don't we get together and play some football? It'll be fun.
And we're going to be broadcasting the game even though we're many miles away. And we have to thank Hingham for the video coverage here.
Yes, very, very special thanks to everyone in Hingham. We're using their broadcast crew, their feed here. I believe we're going to be going just with a single camera feed. We're going to be doing the best we can to bring all the action to you. You see Hingham here in red with the red jerseys with the white helmets and pants. They will be the home team, obviously. They're going to be on the near side, so it's a bit of a different look for folks who are used to watching Fitchburg football here on FATV. The Red Raiders will be the visiting team on the far sideline. They will be in their road whites.
Indeed, and as you can see, there's that bit of stands out there on the far side, and some Fitchburg fans have been able to make their way down to Hingham, about an hour and a half drive, down all of the highways, through all of the traffic.
It's a heck of a hike. Each player was allotted 2 passes. You can see, again, as Dan mentioned, some players were able to get, some friends or family to come out with them. Everybody's going to be doing their best. Obviously, we don't want to belabor the point. It is March and we're playing football, and everybody knows why we didn't play football last September. We're playing it in March instead. It's going to be weird. Hopefully the games are going to be good. The kids have had an extra 6 months to prepare, to get ready for this season of football, and we're going to get it started in just a moment. Dan Bolek will have the play-by-play.
Thank you very much, John. So as we see, Fitchburg will be in the road white uniform. Looks like they'll be going left to right here in this first quarter of play, while Hingham is in the road red uniforms. They'll be going right to left in this first quarter. Alexander McCloskey is the listed kicker for the Red Raiders, wearing number 80. So we expect him to be the one kicking off here. So we're going to try to do the best we can, calling the games remotely. We had a little bit of experience during the fall with soccer.
Just a little bit.
And so here is the kickoff. Rather short kick, takes a bounce towards the sideline. It looks like it was fielded there in the vicinity of the 25-yard line. And it'll be taken out at the 27-yard line, and that's where we're going to start.
I believe it was Brendan Hill who made the recovery on the kickoff for Hingham. They are the Harbormen.
Indeed they are. Very interesting mascot name for them.
Dan, I want to thank you for filling as I switched from the mask, which looks good on TV but means I can't see, to the face shield, which means I can see but I don't look as good, so we have to switch whenever I'm not going to be on camera.
And so Hingham's going to have the first drive from the far hash mark. First and 10, it'll be from the 27-yard line.
You can really hear the wind howling down there.
And so here's the snap, a handoff to the near side. Looks like Henry Crean taking that one for the Harbormen. And it'll be wrestled down around the 30-yard line, a gain of a couple there for Hingham. Check that, that is actually Cooper Estes, who is the senior running back for the team, player to watch for Hingham. He did not play in the game against Plymouth North, or at least I didn't see him play in as much of the coverage that I saw. But it'll be Estes who picks up 3 on first down. Now roll to the right this time, trying to cut through the hash marks, now make his way out to the numbers, getting a lot of yardage there to the 40-yard line. And that one was Sia Nicholas taking that carry to the far side.
So already, Dan, you're seeing what Hingham intends to do. They're going to go from the shotgun. They're going to send maybe their tailbacks or wide receivers in motions. We've seen, you've seen and you've told me about a lot of, jet sweeps and toss plays from the Hingham side. Unfortunately, it looks like there is a Red Raider down on the far sideline. Can't get a good look as to who that is, so we won't speculate. But an unfortunate start, just the second play of the season, and already Red Raider has gone down with what looks to be an injury.
Makes things rather tough to start the season, but obviously it's one of those things that we are always aware of with the game of football.
While we have a moment, I do want to mention for folks who are maybe tuning in to FATV for the first time since the passing of our very good friend Dave Clark, at halftime of this broadcast, we're going to have a video tribute to him, and Dan and I are going to share a bit of our memories. But we are thinking about Dave Clark and his family, wishing them all the best. And again, at halftime, we're going to have a video tribute to him. Looks like the Fitchburg player has gotten to his feet and is going to be helped off. Moving very gingerly, though. Looks like that is Ryan. No, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong roster. That is Maz Newton, actually, number 52 for the Raiders. Putting no weight at all, virtually, on that right leg. But we will return to live action. Hingham has it first and 10 at their own 40, Dan.
Indeed they do. And you can see this setup here with multiple tight ends. They've got 6 on the line, a tight end off the line to each side, and they have a receiver out on the far side. I think that's Matt Lahiff out there on the far side, setting up there. Had over 100 yards receiving last week against Plymouth North, and you see Nicholas going in motion. They'll fake the handoff to him, go up the middle instead. Just short of midfield, he'll be taken down there. And that is Patrick Petrullo getting the carry there for the Harbormen.
For a second there, Dan, it looked like that was a busted play, like they intended to hand it off to Nicholas coming in motion, but it was a high snap, and either that was a very, very, very quick adjustment by the quarterback there, or it was just a designed handoff up the middle all the way. Either way, a very good result, 9 yards for Hingham. It'll be second down and 1.
Now a high snap pulled down there by Dylan Pearson, another run around to the near flank, and this is what Hingham likes to do. They like to take these carries to the flanks. That's Patrick Petrullo again, and he's going to gain the first down for the Harbormen. They're into Red Raider territory.
The thing with this offense for the Harbormen, Dan, even if their tailbacks, their running backs aren't carrying the ball, they're going to have to throw some important blocks. On this one, you saw Nicholas, number 24 for the Harbormen, actually set the edge, and he was the one who allowed Petrullo to get across the line of scrimmage, get into Red Raider territory, and pick up the first down.
And so first and 10 for Hingham, now into Raider territory. It'll be a handoff to the back behind. And he'll take it to the near side to the 45-yard line. Petrullo again with the carry, and he'll get a couple more yards on that one.
Hingham already with a victory on the season, as we mentioned. They finished 8-3 in the 2019 campaign. Both of these teams went to their respective divisions' championship games. Fitchburg, as folks will remember, falling short.
And Hingham losing in their own championship game to Fitchburg lost to Tantascwa, but Hingham, they ended up losing. There's a fumble there as Petrullo lost the handle on it. But jumping on that one was Matt Lahiff, able to recover that one.
I think they actually ruled him down by contact. Petrullo was dragged to the dragged to the ground. I can get my English out really quick. Devin Barasano just grabbed him and threw him down, and it was actually the violence with which Barasano threw Petrullo to the ground that knocked the ball loose. Bit of a break there for Hingham. They would have lost about 4 or 5 yards had it been ruled a fumble, but instead he's down after a gain of 1. We'll call it 3rd down and about 6 here. They have to get to the Red Raider 38 to move the chains.
Spot him at the 44-yard line. So 3rd down, and this is a Hingham team, from what I've read, they like going for it on 4th down. I think that's right up your alley. As there's Dylan Pierce with the throw, but it's well short to the far side.
Very poorly underthrown. Looks like he was trying to hit Cooper Estes just on a little slant hook. But the throw was very much off target. Again, Dan, we mentioned the wind. It is picking up. Quite possible that Pierce was having trouble adjusting to it there. And I thought you said they like to go for it.
That's what I heard.
It's 4th and 6 on the other team's 40. It's high school. I guess it makes a little bit of sense to punt.
And so Lahiff is going to kick this one down the field. 2 players back there, and you can see the wind carrying that ball into the end zone for a touchback.
Yeah, that's what you get for punting from the opposing team's 44-yard line.
And so now we're going to get our first clock check of the game. 8:46 to go in the first quarter. No score, and the Red Raiders will have their first drive. Last timeout for Hingham, they had a picture-in-picture of the clock, not available today. So we're going to be at the mercy of when they decide to show the scoreboard.
Well, again, purely speculative here, but with the wind, it's entirely possible that, you set up that camera, you point it at the scoreboard, and it's just shaking entirely too much. I mean, we've been in that situation a number of times here at FATV, but again, all thanks to the folks in Hingham for doing what they can to bring us the video here.
On 1st down, this is Anthony Oquendo to the near side, and he is off and running past midfield and out of bounds in Harborman territory.
Anthony Oquendo picking up where he left off. How many times last season, Dan, did Anthony Oquendo just decide to go off and dominate the game for quarters at a time? One play is all it takes for the Raiders to get further than Hingham was when they decided to punt from inside Red Raider territory. Now Fitchburg is inside Hingham territory, the ball at the Harborman 47.
Incredible start to this drive for the Red Raiders on a 33-yard run by Anthony Oquendo. He'll take the carry again, going up the middle, and breaking tackles down at the 30. 2 plays for the Red Raiders and no answer for the Harbormen.
Absolutely none. Drew Ken saved a touchdown there, Dan. He was the last line of defense. Oquendo almost looked like he was going to break through the tackle, but Ken was able to wrap up his leg and drag Oquendo down, not before a gain of, 18 more yards for Anthony Oquendo. Already Fitchburg inside now the 30 of Hingham. Anthony Oquendo he's been the entire offense, and it's a very good offense right now for Fitchburg.
2 carries for 51 yards for the junior tailback wearing number 7. Take a breather this time, as that's Devin Barasano bouncing out to the near side, and he'll be pushed out of bounds inside the 25-yard line.
Looks like that was Daniel Hannon, the one of the captains for Hingham. We saw at the coin toss each team sending out only a single player. Teams across the state and across the country really doing, well, not in every state, but in Massachusetts, doing as much as they can to, distance as much as is possible while still playing the game.
It'll be 2nd down and 5. 5-yard carry for Barasano. Just 3 plays for the Red Raiders. They've already gained 56 yards on the ground. There'll be another handoff. This is Oquendo again, but they're going to blow the play dead with the flag. Oquendo was gone otherwise, but that may have been part of it.
I think they might get the Raiders for a false start.
That's indeed what they're going to call.
So a bit of a stutter step at the snap. I would guess they're actually going to call that on Montgomery Graham, Dan. You saw he kind of leaned forward, more so than a quarterback typically will from the shotgun. Graham leaned forward before getting that snap. I think that may be the reason for the infraction. Although now the officials are going to come over to the Hingham sideline. Again, Hingham is on the near side this time. This game being broadcast from Hingham, so Fitchburg is the road team. Bit unusual for folks watching at home on FATV, but we'll get through it.
A little bit, so they'll just wipe out the run that Barisano had. Keeps the down, though, so the down will count. So it's 2nd down and 10 to go. 29 yards for goal for the Red Raiders. As Montgomery Graham gets the call. Out of the pistol with Barisano and Oquendo. Graham looking to throw. Going to center step juke. And he's got to go forward now because he's past the line of scrimmage. But he's going to get about 9 yards out of it.
Graham did a really good job there. He even fooled the Hingham defense into thinking that he could still, pump and go deep when he was a line or two across the line of scrimmage. The thing that stands out for me, Dan, and this is just, you haven't seen this team in a year and a half. Montgomery Graham is taller now. This is what happens when you cover high school football sometimes. You noticed back, last season especially, and when we say last season, we really do mean back in 2019. Felt a bit like an undersized quarterback for Fitchburg. That is no longer the case. Or am I just crazy?
No,
he's taller, right?
He's taking advantage of that growth spurt. I mean, I got to see him a little bit on the basketball court, but admittingly, I didn't know what his height was before, so that's still something to be aware of, though. And it's going to be Barisano takes it on the cutback inside, and he's going to get to the 15-yard line. That'll be a 1st down for the Red Raiders.
And with that growth, with that development, you have to hope, if you're a fan of the Red Raiders, that there's a bit more arm strength there for Montgomery Graham that presents even more of a viable passing threat. We've seen in past seasons, Graham has been capable of hitting the big ball, but it's really been a ground-based offense for Fitchburg that has kind of run through Barisano and Oquendo. And we've seen that on this first drive, but also you would hope for more development from your quarterback as the season progresses, really.
Indeed, 434 yards is what I've got Graham as having recorded through the air last season.
Over an entire season, that's not a lot.
It's not, but he also was able to run for 356 yards on the ground last year as well, as Oquendo goes in motion, and Graham's going to throw to the right side corner, but badly overthrown.
I believe he was trying to hit Brian Rivera in the back corner there. Nothing there but grass, though. Or field turf. No, there's definitely not grass. If they could play on grass, they'd be playing at Crocker, right?
Yeah, if the grass was fit for play, or if they weren't trying to preserve it for the fall because...
yeah, I don't think Crocker Field... We love Crocker Field. Crocker Field can't handle 2 football seasons in 1 year.
It's quite the challenge for that old turf.
Really, any patch of natural grass would have a lot of trouble being asked to handle 2 football seasons in 1 year.
So we're seeing a lot of field turf getting action here. And here is Oquendo just trying to stay on his feet, but he saw nothing but red shirts in front of him blocking his progress, and ultimately that's the first time they're going to get him for a loss today.
Credit to, I believe it's John O'Connor, the senior lineman, one of the captains for Hingham. He was the one who initially busted into the backfield and really blew that play up. Even though Oquendo was able to evade him, by the time he did so, there were 3 more Harbormen just ready to bring him down. Now 3rd down and 13 for the Raiders. They have to get to about the 5-yard line for a 1st down.
So we'll see what the Red Raiders can do here on 3rd down. Again, they've got the 2 backs just behind Montgomery Graham to the side, Oquendo to the left, and now Barisano to the right, now in motion to the left side. Load that side up, 3 receivers, and it'll be a throw over the middle. That's going to be caught to the end zone. Touchdown, Red Raiders, pulled in by Darnell Thomas, basketball player to basketball player, and the Red Raiders have the first strike.
Dan, that's the kind of play I was hoping we might see out of Montgomery Graham. 2 years ago, last season, back in 2019, he would have just lofted it up into the corner of the end zone, a jump ball, and you see what happens. But this time he saw that it wasn't there. He saw his receiver, Darnell Thomas, open over the middle, and he delivered a perfect strike. Thomas took it the last yard in, a beautifully thrown ball, and a great touchdown for Fitchburg.
Now the extra point is going to be blocked. And you cannot go for 2 in high school. Hingham very much would have had an argument to go for 2 with how they were able to block that, but there's no defensive 2-point conversions in the NFHS rulebook, so that'll bring an end to that play there. No more damage done on the other side. So as you see, with under 5 to go in the first quarter of play, the Red Raiders lead 6-0.
Feels weird, Dan, to be calling a game here on FATV. Fitchburg, marches down the field. They get it into the end zone. There's the scream of celebration, and then there's no band. There's no Mr. Touchdown. We'll get there. We're not there yet. And I will not sing unless you sing with me.
And I don't sing when there's cameras or microphones in front of me.
A really, really impressive drive, though, for the Red Raiders. Their first offensive possession of the season, and really pretty much, Dan, you couldn't ask for much more. You saw Anthony Aquendo still as explosive and dangerous as ever. Devin Barasano able to pick up some yards on the ground, and then a really good pass at the end of it from Montgomery Graham. If these are the kind of players that Fitchburg has, their new head coach, Greg Graham, the interim head coach, he was talking about the wow factor. You could see a lot of teams saying wow when they have to face this Fitchburg offense if that's the kind of explosiveness that they're going to bring to the table.
Indeed, as I'm just trying to fix my stat sheet here, make sure everything is all good in that regard.
That's fine. I'm just taking a swig of water and muting my microphone. Sorry.
And so that was 7-play drive, 85 yards. They started from the 20, but that 5 yards they got marked back there. So 85 yards in total the Red Raiders pick up there, all but 18 coming on the ground. And, of course, the last 18 for the touchdown coming through the air. And so McCloskey will go to kick off there. Line drive out to the numbers, picked up at the 20-yard line by Hingham, trying to bring it up the far side. Across the numbers, and across the 40-yard line it goes. Cooper Estes credited with the return there for the Harbormen, and they'll start with pretty solid field position.
Yeah, Dan, this was the second time in a row that Fitchburg's kickoffs have been a little short and to the left side of the field or to Hingham's right side, and this time the Harbormen were ready for it. Cooper Estes was right there. He picked it up on the bounce, and he got a really solid return out of it. Hingham now set up 1st and 10 at their own 40. Really good field position for the Harbormen as they look to answer back.
So Hingham on their first drive gained about 30 yards, but ultimately forced a punt in Raider territory.
With the Harbormen versus the Red Raiders, this is like a classic naval battle. This could be off the coast of 15th century Spain.
Could very well be. It's a very interesting matchup name-wise. Wonderful nautical try there.
He called in sick. Jim told me 20 minutes before.
And of course, if the camera guy talks, there's nothing we can do about that, is there?
Yeah, no. It's an interesting conversation. Something about their play-by-play announcers. Not us. We're doing fine, I hope.
I don't even know if they know we exist.
No, probably not. That's fine.
But it'll be 1 yard gained there.
Dan, existentialism is my gimmick.
Drop back and a pass thrown over the middle is going to be caught now at midfield. Looks like Petrullo was the one who took that one in there for the Harbormen.
Okay, you can have existentialism, and I'll throw in pro wrestling references if I get being the guy who does all the work and all of the prep. Wait, that's a horrible deal for me. Why do we have that? I don't want that.
In any case, though, an 11-yard completion for Petrullo, and we may be having our mask break here.
Well, the officials are signaling timeout called by the Raiders, but they are going to be doing mask breaks during the quarters. Just give everybody a chance to, take your mask off, take some, I don't want to say unimpeded because, the masks don't really do anything, but, take some breaths, get used to it. It is an adjustment for these players. Dan, you and I talked about it a little bit when we were doing the soccer games over the fall. It's an adjustment for everybody, facial coverings at all times. And also, while we have a moment here, we do want to mention that FATV's programming is available in high definition, and you can also find it on all of these streaming devices, your Apple TV, your Fire Stick, your Roku. I have an Amazon Fire Stick at home. I've been watching FATV programming on that. It is very, very cool that you can just, you can also, of course, still go to the website, fatv.org. We absolutely encourage that. But for folks who have the streaming devices, we are available there as well. We are progressing slowly but surely into the 21st century.
All the technology we've got. And we're happy wherever you're joining us. Whether you're joining us on Comcast, Verizon, on fatv.org, or through any of those apps, we welcome your presence.
Absolutely.
And so that was just broken from the start as all of that. You saw Estes go in motion, then come back. And then ultimately, they just go with the handoff to Petrullo, and they had that red all day.
Yeah, Erickson Danger was completely uncovered.
What else to say on that, really? It was just very strange how that all developed.
He was lined up just, at the right defensive end position. Nobody picked him up. One of the easier tackles Erickson Danger will ever make.
The junior lineman stopping Petrullo for a loss of 3, and so it'll be second down, 13 to go. And they're going to get him on the offside there.
It's a very simple fake snap call from Pierce. He basically just claps his hands together. You can actually hear him over the field mic. He just, slaps his hands together, gets the ends for Fitchburg to jump, picks up 5 free yards. Hey, if it's there, take it. Fitchburg's defensive ends very eager.
Bring up a 2nd and 8. On the snap, rolling out right side, Pierce will throw, incomplete. Trying to find someone on the right flat there, and that one was Cam Vidal, but he wasn't able to haul that one in.
Dan, I don't know if they were trying to set up a screen for Vidal and the lineman didn't get out, or if the protection for Pierce just collapsed, but he was under pressure almost immediately, had to roll out to his right, kind of deliver the pass sidearm, and as a result, it was just outside of the reach of Vidal, unable to bring it in, and it'll now be 3rd down and 8 for the Harbormen.
So Hingham already 0 for 1 on 3rd down. As Pierce drops back, rolls to his left, tries to find some space and time to throw. He'll get neither, and he'll be wrapped up in the backfield. Taken down there by Jesse Ramos.
Once again, Dan, the Hingham offensive line unable to protect their quarterback. Pierce pressured basically from the word go. This time it was Jesse Ramos, the junior lineman, busted through, brought him down from behind. I was about to say that Hingham was in a very similar position to their last drive where they decided to kick, but now, backed up back into their own territory, the decision to punt is that much easier.
4th and long, thrown up high in the air. Now, one thing I want to watch, too, as well, is how the Red Raiders play that kick return, because how many times did we see them approach those dangerous balls?
It was a lot. There were a lot of times where it's, you should just, say the word poison, get away from it. I remember last season, Dave Clark, Mike Flynn, and myself, how many times was it just get away from the ball? See there, 2:39 to play in the first quarter. Fitchburg leading this one 6-0. John Gugerty, Dan Bolak with you here. The game is being played in Hingham. Dan and I are in Fitchburg. It is the miracle of technology bringing this game to you.
We're here in the Workers Credit Union studios here on Kimball Street at FATV. As on 1st down, Anthony Aquendo bouncing off some tackles, moving his way out to the left side. And look at that speed yet again, just like he started the last drive. Just going on an incredible tear down to the sideline. Run out of bounds, but not before finding his way to Harborman territory yet again.
The only real difference, Dan, between this play and the first play of the last drive is that it went to the left. Oquendo was under a little bit of pressure behind the line of scrimmage, but he was easily able to avoid that defender. And then once he got into the second level, there was just nobody there who could catch up with him until they finally just corralled him along the sideline. But before that, he got into Hingham territory. Fitchburg is set up at the Harborman 48.
So 1st and 10 from there. Oquendo up to 67 yards on the ground today. So we're under 2 minutes to go in the quarter. Montgomery Graham fakes the handoff. He's going to run with it himself. He'll be taken down just past the Harborman 40-yard line. Gain of about 9.
Saw Montgomery Graham, easy for me to say, do it with his arm on the first drive for the Raiders. That time he reminds us he can do it with the legs as well. Really nice play for him. Designed quarterback run. I don't even think that was an option. That was just always going to be play fake to the tailback. QB keeps it himself, and he picked up 9 yards doing it.
That's one of Graham's strengths, is his mobility. Always danger in regards to being able to run down the field with it. Now 2nd and 1 it'll be for the Red Raiders from the left hash. See Brian Rivera splitting out to the near side. 3 receivers for the Red Raiders on this one, but it'll be a run for Barisano. He's going to get the first down. He's got a lot of space on the left side, cutting back in, and now down just short of the 20-yard line. No, he's even got a little extra effort after that. Got across the 20, and there's a flag at the end.
Saw a Harborman go down to the ground. It was Liam Collins, who I believe was hit late from behind. I did not see who delivered the hit, but I'm pretty confident, Dan, that this is going to be assessed against the Red Raiders. And it is, in fact, a personal foul against Fitchburg for that late hit. Again, it was on Liam Collins. He was hit from behind well after the play was down. And obviously, Dan, discipline has been a problem for the Red Raiders. We don't have to dwell too much on how the last 2 games Fitchburg played back in 2019, how those games ended. But it's something that has been a bit of a theme for Fitchburg High School football over the past 18 months and also 2 football games.
Indeed, that's one of those black spots there on the Red Raiders in last season, how well they did on the field, but how those games ended both against Tantasco at Foley Stadium and then on Thanksgiving against Leominster.
Just leaves a poor taste in the mouth, really, for a fan. I remember, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I remember I was very upset at the time just as a commentator. It doesn't feel good to end a game like that with your team committing those kind of penalties, getting into those kind of situations. And as you said, in both cases, Dan, with the officials stepping in and just saying, no, this game is over. You guys are refusing to control yourselves. We're not going to play any more football here.
Always a rough way to end the games, one that you hope you don't see duplicated. In any case, we had a timeout on the field.
I believe that was called by the Harborman. Should be 2 left for each side. Is that how they're doing it now? 3 per team per half?
I believe so. They also do have that on the scoreboard at the bottom of it, so we'll have a look at that when they pan over there next time.
Feels like it's getting toward the end of the first quarter. Fitchburg took over with just under 5 to play in the quarter, I believe.
2:39 they took over.
That is under 5.
And so it'll be 1st and 10, despite even the personal foul, but Anthony Oquendo's just going to gain it all back right now, and then some, inside the 5-yard line, still on his feet, and taken down just short of the goal line. Anthony Oquendo, my goodness.
It is incredible to watch him work when he is on his game. Anthony Oquendo, one of the most explosive players we've seen, not just on this Fitchburg team, but on any Fitchburg High School team. I mean, you put him up there with, guys like Quentin Perkins, that level of talent, that level of explosiveness and the ability to take over a game for Anthony Oquendo.
And the ball is loose on 1st and goal from the 1. A mad scramble for the football. And they'll rule 2nd down.
Yep, officials are indicating 2nd down. You can hear the calls of white ball, white ball. Now a flag comes in late. A Raider comes out without his hat. That's Jaden Velazquez, who was relieved of his helmet, most likely involuntarily. We may be having the old 18-inch personal foul penalty called here, Dan.
Because how else are you going to enforce it? not a whole lot you can really do with that. Of course, a personal foul can also count towards potential disqualification. Indeed, personal foul against Hingham. So they'll just nudge the football a little bit.
A personal foul indicated against Hingham, and yet the officials are still indicating second down.
It's not an automatic first.
Oh.
I
see.
They only give automatic firsts in high school now if the penalty starts with the word roughing.
I see. That was a choice.
And so Oquendo with the cutback into the end zone. Touchdown, Red Raiders! Oquendo will finish that drive for the red and gray. Already over 100 yards receiving now, 100 yards running, and now he's got a touchdown. 12-0 to the Red Raiders.
Well, when you're on the 1 yard line, it sometimes doesn't matter if it's second down or if it's first down. You can just hand the ball to your best rusher, Anthony Oquendo, and he will get you in the end zone. Now Fitchburg with a bit of a decision. They had their extra point attempt blocked the first time, but it looks like they will go to kick again. Alexander McCloskey on to kick it. Graham is the holder, so that's worth noting.
Second try is going to go through the uprights. It's the extra point, good for McCloskey. 45 seconds to go in the first quarter. It's the Red Raiders 13 and the Harbormen 0.
Fitchburg has just looked absolutely unstoppable, Dan, when they've had the ball, and it is almost entirely on the back of Anthony Oquendo. As you said, he's already over 100 yards rushing just in this first quarter. Just a dominant performance from him. Hingham has no answers. And, because they're so focused on Oquendo, even when the ball goes to Barasano or even when Graham keeps it himself, Fitchburg has been able to get those positive yardage, keep the ball moving down the field. The Red Raiders have just, 3 days ago they thought they were going to go to Leominster, play their arch rival, and pretend it was Thanksgiving in March. Now they've gone down to the South Shore, gone to Hingham, and they are dominating the Harbormen.
One thing I saw from Leominster head coach Devin Gates wishing the Red Raiders well and saying, show Hingham what Central Mass can do. So that one ends up pegging one of the up men there for Hingham, who just falls on it there as he should. Not going to be a long kickoff there, but taken in nonetheless by John Hefferman.
So one thing Hingham has had for them, Dan, in this first quarter is they've had excellent field position. Their last drive started at the 40-yard line. This one will start for them at their own 46. They really, however, have not been able to get much going offensively. I think for Hingham, they need to open up the play calling a little bit, try to loosen this Fitchburg defense, because right now the Raiders can just sell out and try to stop the run. I think if I'm Hingham, if I'm their head coach Mark Nutley, I'm gonna draw up some pass plays here. Let's have Dylan Pierce throw it deep once or twice.
We'll see what he can do here on first down. It's fumbled. I think they wanted to do that play they like to do, where they've got the man in motion coming to the near side, and Pierce was going to hand off to him, but before you can hand off the ball, you've got to actually secure the snap.
You need to catch the ball. Catch the ball, then release the ball. Catch the ball, then release the ball. Just getting the order of operations mixed up, that's all.
So not making things any easier for the Harbormen. Now 2nd and 12.
The way the players are standing around, I think that's going to bring us to the end of the first quarter. Dan, it's a first quarter that Fitchburg has absolutely dominated. You see there on the scoreboard, 13-0 for Fitchburg at the end of the first. I mean, how could this have gone better on the field for the Red Raiders?
Hard to really say. I mean, Anthony Oquendo, he's healthy, he's on the field, and he just immediately makes his presence known to the Harbormen. Just how he was able to get downfield, bounce off those tackles, find that open real estate, and he's just tough to stop when he's on his game. He's very much on his game here in March.
Tough is one word for it. Impossible is another for the Harbormen. While we have a moment here between quarters, we want to thank some of the companies who make this and every presentation of FATV possible. FATV's remote productions are underwritten by Workers Credit Union, Rollstone Bank and Trust, UMass Memorial Health Alliance Clinton Hospital, North End Subaru, and Unitil. Also brought to you by Research Results, Minuteman Press, Mart, and the Sentinel Enterprise. You see them up on your screen. Thank you so much to all of them.
And you can see the upcoming Red Raider football schedule. Next week we'll be at Grafton, 4 o'clock start from just due east of Worcester. Then North Middlesex, Westboro, and Oakmont, the rest of the Red Raider schedule here in the Fall 2 season. We plan on bringing you all of these games live.
All of those games live here on FATV. You know, restrictions and permissions and guys keeping their acts straight provided. But, you know, we're playing tonight, right?
Found a way. And so 2nd and 12, and Pierce throwing to the near side. That's going to be pulled in by Estes. He's going to make his way into Red Raider territory, out of bounds at the 42-yard line.
Dan, I mentioned that Hingham, to my eye, really needs to open up the offense, get the ball moving through the air. That isn't the deep ball, but it'll still loosen the defense a little bit. Pierce finding Estes and actually moving the chains. Now it'll be a first down for Hingham at their own 42. And Dan, I know it's been 18 months or so, and I only called a couple of soccer games with you. I'm going to stretch these muscles. Let me do some play-by-play, would you?
Have a go.
All right. 1st and 10, Hingham at the Fitchburg 42. Pump and throw to the right. Pass is knocked away, incomplete. Looks like it was intended for Hingham. That was going to number 84, Matt Lahiff. And I think it was Chris Garcia on defense for the Raiders there.
Didn't get the greatest look myself. I want to say Colin Dudek was in the area as well.
Definitely possible. It looked like a pretty well-thrown ball, just tight coverage by the Raiders. Knocked that one away. It'll be 2nd down and 10 for Hingham. Motion to the near side. Handoff goes straight up the middle. Nothing doing there. Patrick Petrula was brought down immediately. That is definitely Chris Garcia coming straight up the middle, making the hit. Nothing there for Petrula. Maybe got a yard. Let's call it 3rd down and 9 now for the Haberman. Got to slip into Boston every now and then.
Just a little bit. I mean, we're far enough out to the point that the accent doesn't come naturally to us.
No, but it is funny when you fake it, ain't it? 3rd down 9 here. All right, I'll stop. 3rd down and 9 for Hingham on their own 41-yard line. They need the 32. Under pressure is Pierce. He throws to the left side, and that is broken up violently. Unhappy with the way that it came together is Cam Vidal, but a good, clean, strong hit for Fitchburg. I think that was Brian Rivera who just lowered his shoulder and barreled into him.
That was indeed Rivera, and that was well-timed there by Rivera to get over there and break that one up.
That's one way to play defense, isn't it?
Indeed it is.
So Hingham gets 1 first down, but then they quickly fall apart. They will kick it away. 3 possessions, 3 punts for Hingham. Fitchburg, I believe, had 12 guys on the field. They finally get one off. Now the punt bounces at the 15, takes a Hingham roll. It'll come dead just inside the 10. I think that by some magic they will decide that the nose of the football should be spotted right on the 10-yard line. And you can see right there, 10:54 to play in the first half. Fitchburg leading this one 13-0. They will be getting the ball back. Dan, they've had 2 possessions, 2 scores. I think we're going to see someone number 7 here. Is that a fair assumption?
Well, number 7 to carry the ball on first down. The question is he going to get a first down on this run?
Is he going to get into Hingham territory on this run?
Because that's how each of the last 2 drives started.
Oquendo and Barasano will be in the backfield for Fitchburg. They line up with Thomas and Crom split to the near side. Now in motion goes Barasano. Graham keeps it himself. This looks like a busted play. He loses his helmet and is brought down in the backfield for a loss of about 4. Dan, what was that?
Oquendo was all block, just paying attention to what number 7 was going to do in those yellow cleats, and he was blocking from the very beginning. And of course, because Graham's lost his helmet, he has to come out for a play.
You see Oquendo there gesturing like, what was I supposed to do?
Not at all gone to design there. So So the Red Raiders will have a new quarterback for a play.
Philip Arpano, the junior, coming in. Big, tall number 13 there. Quendo, the deep man. Looks like they'll go from the I formation, 2 receivers and a tight end. Handoff goes to Aquendo, looking to his left, bounces it to the outside, bounces it to the outside again. Gets across the 10 and is finally dragged down at the 14-yard line. Hingham defense stiffening there a little bit. Anthony Quendo brought down after a reasonably good gain. It'll still be 3rd down.
Gets about half the distance he needed to get that first down. Got to get to the 20-yard line for the first, and with that busted play, that was a 4-yard loss. But just Aquendo going to the flank, and he just gets over there so quick, he's got time to bounce out again.
Unsurprisingly, Montgomery Graham comes back on the field. It was just the 1 play absence on account of losing his helmet. Tightens that chin strap, and he'll come in for 3rd down and 6. Motion to the far side goes Barasano. Handoff goes up the middle. I was going to say not much there. He plowed across the 15-yard line. It's going to be pretty close, but I think he will be short of the line to gain. Can't really see the sticks from where we are. I'm sorry, Dan. I'm stepping all over you.
He had to get to the 20, though.
Well, that's not the 20.
No, it's not.
Very much not the 20.
That's, I guess, the one positive of doing the stats here is that it does tell me where they need to go to get to the first down. I believe that's the first failed 3rd down conversion for the Red Raiders. It very much is.
First time we've seen the punting unit for Fitchburg. McCloskey will do that as well. Kicker and punter, he does it all. Snap goes through McCloskey's legs. This is a lot of trouble for Fitchburg. He picks it up. He's going to try to get out of the end zone. He's got to just fall on it. I think he punted that ball technically.
Yeah, I think that went off his foot. I mean, that's not what you do in that situation.
No.
You're supposed to just boot that out of the back of the end zone and take the safety.
Yeah, take the safety in that situation. I mean, Fitchburg winds up falling on the ball at their own 18-yard line. Their coaches want a first down somehow?
Don't think it touched a Hingham player, and even if it did, wouldn't they still have to get the marker?
I think if it touched a Hingham player and Fitchburg then recovered, it becomes Fitchburg ball, first down no matter what. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't really know how that works. And it's very rare that you'll see a punt not make it to the yard to gain, but ultimately they'll rule Hingham ball, and I feel that's the correct call.
That's the correct call. McCloskey, I mean, Fitchburg's defense is in a very bad situation here, and I think that's going to be a coaching point for the Raiders going forward. You said it, Dan. McCloskey's got to fall on that football or boot it out of the end zone. Like, the worst thing you can do in that situation as a punter is try to make something happen, even if it's just, especially, in that situation where you've got guys swarming all around you, you can't try to get that kick away. Like, maybe once in a lifetime you get it away and you get it to midfield, but more often than not, you're in a situation like this where Hingham is taking over at your team's 18-yard line, or even just they tackle you, they recover it in the end zone, and you hand them a touchdown.
Yeah, it's just that developed the worst possible way there. And that's a bit of an experience. Last year it was Javon Falcon and Justin Comisano who were dealing with the punting duties. Obviously, Comisano has graduated. Falcon is still on the team, but he is now a junior wearing number 17. But, they feel they've got a better leg there in Alexander McCloskey. But obviously that's just an error that comes down to inexperience.
Yeah, it's just, that situation has to come up in practice, and you have to see it a couple of times. And I suspect the next time Alexander McCloskey finds himself in that situation, he's going to boot the ball out of the end zone, or he's going to just fall on it. But for right now, it's a huge break for Hingham. They get the ball at the Red Raider 18-yard line. The officials are still debating.
Because this is one of those plays that just does not come up very often.
No.
As you saw, both of us were wondering what exactly happens in this circumstance. And then there's also the question, did Hingham actually touch that at any point? And was that also a legally punted ball? There was a lot of things that happened on that.
There was an awful lot going on. And unfortunately, all we have is a single camera somewhere in Hingham pointed at a football field as these officials try to sort it out.
We can tell you 8:31 to go in the second quarter, 13 for the Red Raiders, 0 for Hingham. From my stats, if I'm doing everything correctly, I have Hingham as getting 42 yards of offense, 17 on the ground, 25 through the air, and I have Fitchburg with 171 yards of offense, 153 on the ground, 18 through the air, that on just one catch, but that was a touchdown catch.
So you're saying there's a bit of a disparity in the offensive performance between these two teams. That is what I'm hearing.
As it stands right now, yes.
Okay.
A look at what Hingham did last year. They win 8-3. They were 3-1 in the Patriot League Keenan. They started by playing Division II Braintree. They won that game 34-27. They took on Abington in Week 2. That was a South Division 7 team, but ultimately a state champion at Division 7. Beat the Green Wave 18-0. Beat Hopkinton 41-23. Lost to Duxbury. Where have I heard that team before? They lost 41-20. Lost 41-20. Then they beat Silver Lake 28-25, beat Plymouth North 42-29, and then rounded out the regular season with a 21-14 win over Whitman-Hanson. So they went 6-1 in the regular season. They played a 7-game regular season and then took the top 8 teams for postseason. If we'd had a regular season this year, if everything was normal, they would have actually gone to the system that we do over here, in which we play an 8-week regular season and take the top 4.
I see.
But ultimately, they went to the playoffs, quarterfinals. They were the number 1 seed. They took down Bishop Fee in the quarters, 26-19, beat Walpole 14-8, and then lost to Duxbury again, 20-10 in the championship. They had home field the entire way. They got to play the championship here in Hingham because that's also a thing they do in Eastern Mass. Is that the sectional championship games are at the highest seed as opposed to a neutral site as we do in Central. And then they lost on Thanksgiving to Scituate 27-14. And so that's how Hingham did last year, and as we know, they opened with a 14-10 win over Plymouth North. They were going to play Marshfield. That got postponed the week before. They got to start a week earlier in Eastern Mass than we did in Central. And now they're playing Fitchburg right now, and they have games scheduled against Silver Lake and Whitman-Hanson as well. And that's all you need to know about the Hingham schedule last year and this.
All right. Now, Dan, there's one thing you said in that excellent roundup that I took, I don't want to say offense with, but it made me raise my eyebrow. You said they got to play that game here in Hingham. We're not in the press box, right? We are at separate tables in the Workers Credit Union studios at Fitchburg Access Television. There's I could throw this pen and I probably wouldn't hit you. I'm not going to throw this pen because 1, it's my only pen, 2, it's not even my pen, and 3, I'm not left-handed. So, if I throw it over this way, it's just, you're not even over that way. It's the magic of television. It's all very confusing. I go to look at Dan, and it looks like I'm looking the wrong way.
Yep. Yep, there in Hingham is probably the better way.
There
I should have said
you go.
But you say all those things, and eventually one sound comes out wrong.
I mean, honestly, Dan, this press box is a nicer press box than the one at St. Bernard's. We've called games there. That's a horrible press box. All right, back to live action here. Hingham quarterback Pierce under pressure, rolling to his right, cuts it upfield, evades the defender, jukes out of bounds. He might have actually gotten some positive yardage there.
Didn't get a whole lot there, but, just trying to make something out of nothing, and he got back to the line of scrimmage at the very least, maybe a yard or two.
Given that Dylan Pierce was under pressure behind the 25-yard line, we'll take it if you're a Hingham supporter. Get back to the line of scrimmage, maybe get a little bit more. Looks like they're going to call it 2nd down and 10 for the Harbormen. Again, Hingham gifted excellent possession after the botched punt. Now carrying it to the far side, trying to find something. Cuts up field, going to be brought down at about the 11-yard line. That was Cooper Estes on the carry. A whole band of Raiders there to bring him down. It'll be 3rd and about 4 for Hingham.
Estes 3 carries for 10 yards by my count right now, or? Yep, that's how that works. I haven't used my little football stat logger in over a year, so I'm still trying to figure that out.
We're all a little rusty. Now 3rd down, handoff goes straight up the middle for Petrullo. He's not going to get much. A little bit more pushing and shoving after the fact between Raiders and Harbormen. These natural nautical enemies coming together. You actually see there for Fitchburg, looks like Colin Dudek is kind of grabbing one of his teammates and just saying, hey, calm down. calm down.
Don't need to give them any more gifts than they've already gotten. It'll be 4th and 3, and for the first time, we're going to see Hingham go for it.
It'll be 4th down and 3 for the Harbormen. They need to get to the 8-yard line. Now motion before the snap. I think the Raiders might have given it themselves. It's the second time Hingham has been able to draw Fitchburg offside.
And that was also a challenge that the Red Raiders had to deal with last season as well, is that they were easily startled.
Easily startled, easily drawn offside. We mentioned already discipline has been an issue. This time, lack of discipline hands the Harbormen first down and goal at the 5-yard line. Handoff goes to the right side. This is Petrullo again. He's brought down after not much, if anything. I think it was Jesus Padilla who made the tackle. Fitchburg defense, Dan, has been very stout. They've just been in some very difficult situations.
Indeed, and this Raider defense last year gave up just 13.5 points per game. That's really their bread and butter. I mean, we've seen their running game and how well it's operated, but defense has been where it's at for the Red Raiders and how they were able to build success last season.
2nd down and goal now for the Harbormen. Petrullo lined up to the left of Pierce, and he will get the carry running to his right. Tries to cut upfield. He will wind up going in untouched. Touchdown, Hingham. Patrick Petrullo from 4 yards out. It is once again a one-score game. Hingham can bring themselves within 6 if they convert the extra point.
Well, at the end of the day, for Hingham, it was just, 17 yards to gain. Just working with the short field, and they take advantage of 2 Red Raider errors to get on the board in this contest with 6:10 to go in the first half.
The error in judgment making the punt in the first place, and then the massive lapse by the defense jumping offside on what would have been 4th down. Now Matt Lahiff on to attempt the extra point. Snap is down, kick is up. It is through. So as you can see, with 6:10 to play here in the first half of action, Fitchburg leads Hingham by a score of 13-7. We are here once again. This is the first FHS football game of the season, first since the fall of 2019. The game is being played in Hingham, but myself, John Gugerty, and Dan Bolak are in the Workers Credit Union studios at Fitchburg Access Television. We want to thank the folks in Hingham for allowing us to simulcast their YouTube feed of the game here. Dan, thank you so much. I looked at Dan. Dan's over there on camera. Dan, thank you so much for being here with us. It's just, it's unique circumstances, right?
Indeed, and thank you very much, John, for making the hike up.
Hey, I only had about as far to go as the Fitchburg High School football team did. So in that case, yeah, I can make the hike. Plus, I got this nice shot in my arm today. I think it gives me superpowers. That's what the shot did, right? Superpowers?
Or better cell phone reception.
One of those. One or the other of those. Or just not having the plague. If it gives me any one of those 3 things, I think I'm good.
And I'll be looking forward to when they do the same to me. And we mentioned, Fitchburg, they are kind of used to traveling long distances to start the season, or at very least last year, that's what they did. They opened against West Springfield. It's about the same distance on the road. It's about the same distance from, I went to Google Maps.
Mm-hmm.
I put a spot at the middle of Crocker Field. I put a spot at the middle of West Springfield's field. I got about 53 and change miles.
That's a very low number, but okay.
Yep, that's point to point.
Yeah, I drove 80 miles to get here, but continue.
Indeed, yep. That's just like flying through the air.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did the same thing, but used the field in Hingham, and I got 53 and a change miles. There's about a quarter-mile difference between them.
Okay.
And I think based on how the roads are laid out, it's about the same distance you have to travel, basically.
Yeah. I mean, the difference going west is, there's a big old body of water. I think they call it a reservoir. All right, this is a short pooching kick, fallen on more than recovered by the Raiders at about the 30-yard line. That was Devin Barasano who just kind of jumped on it.
The thing to remember, too, is that that's a live ball that could be recovered by Hingham if they jumped on, and I think for a moment the Raiders forgot that.
Mm-hmm. Started treating it like a punt, and then they remembered, oh, right, we have to touch that.
It's very bad if you don't.
It is indeed. So, Dan, this is how little travel I've been doing this year. When did they renumber the exits on the Mass Pike?
They did that a couple of months ago, actually.
Okay. I saw it today.
Yeah, they did it a few months ago as Massachusetts is moving to the milepost exit system. I think they just worked on 190 not long ago.
Yeah, 190 has new numbers too. Devin Barasano here with the carry for Fitchburg. He's going to take it across the 40-yard line. Really good second and third effort for Barasano, taking it up toward Hingham territory. Gives the Red Raiders a first down.
13-yard run for Barasano on first down there for the Red Raiders. And now Barasano, he's got 5 carries for 43 yards.
Yeah, we give a lot of attention to Anthony Oquendo, and he certainly deserves it. But Devin Barasano is no slouch himself. Last season, 52 carries, 236 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Anytime you average more than 4 yards a touch, you're doing something right.
He's got 8.6 right now.
First down and 10 for the Raiders. This time Graham will keep it himself. Cuts to the right side. He's got plenty of field turf in front of him. One man to beat. He will run right past him. Montgomery Graham is in. Touchdown, Raiders! Or not. Montgomery Graham apparently stepped out of bounds at the 17-yard line. Dang it, Dad, that was a good call.
Well, just edit it out at the very end. It'll
Yeah.
be just as good as new.
We just stop the clip the second the S drops off, and then we don't realize that he actually stepped out of bounds.
Oh, just walking the tightrope there. I thought he'd beaten him too.
Yeah.
I mean, I was wondering if he was going to do a cutback there. Drew Ken was the last man back there for Hingham, but no, he just beat him with the straight speed, except for the fact that he stepped on that white line.
Well, yeah, Ken had an ally there, and it was the line. Still an excellent run for Montgomery Graham. Sets the Raiders up with fantastic field position. First and 10 at the Hingham 18-yard line as we get ever closer to halftime here. Graham now will keep it himself, running to the left side, gets a block from Barasano. There is a flag down in the backfield. Graham is thrown out of bounds at about the 3-yard line, but we will have to check the infraction. There's a very good chance that this one's coming back.
It's one of those in the vicinity of holding ones, but after the 40-yard run there by Graham, if that were to be given there, it'd be about another 15 yards for the senior quarterback. But we have to see what the penalty is first. And holding sounds like a very reasonable penalty to assess.
Given where the flag was thrown, it's typically thrown from someone behind the play who could see, it's going to be an illegal procedure penalty against the Raiders. Maybe not enough men lined up on the line of scrimmage or somebody in motion at the snap. So not quite as bad as a hold. It'll only be a 5-yard penalty, but it will still negate the big run by Graham. Bring up first and 15 now for Fitchburg.
So just 5 yards backed up, and so they'll spot it at the 22-yard line.
First and 15 for Fitchburg. As you said, Dan, at the 22-yard line now of the Hingham Harbormen. Graham will have Barasano to his left, Oquendo to his right. 2 receivers, 1 tight end for Fitchburg. Barasano gets the carry, running to his right, gets a big block from Oquendo, and he goes in untouched. Devin Barasano from 23 yards out. Touchdown, Raiders!
My goodness, when he got to that far side there, thanks to the block there from Oquendo, there was just nothing but green field turf in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, the offensive line did a fantastic job. Really good downfield blocking. He got 1 key block from Oquendo acting as his fullback. It's one of the easier touchdown runs Devin Barasano will ever have. Fitchburg answers right back. They go back to a 2-score lead. They'll look to make this a 20-7 advantage with the extra point. McCloskey will kick out of a hold from Graham after the timeout. This is an official's timeout. Hingham player coming off the field without a helmet. Brian Bernard will check in. And McCloskey will attempt the extra point once more. Good snap, good hold. Kick is up, and it is good. 20-7 is the Fitchburg advantage as we march ever closer to halftime. Hey, can our good friend in Hingham swing over and show us the scoreboard there, please? Come on, do it, do it, do it. Yes, he's going to do it. Excellent. 5:13 to play in the second quarter, excuse me.
20 points in the contest, though, was on par for Fitchburg for a game, basically. I mean, you'd think it'd be the second half because, they only scored about 16 points a game last season.
I mean, Dan, you and I were talking before the game about the number of times Fitchburg went scoreless in the entire first half last season. That has certainly not been the case. 4 possessions, 3 touchdowns for the Red Raiders.
Just last year, they scored 14 against West Springfield in the first half, 3 and 7 in their 2 games against Tantasco, and 21 against North Middlesex. In the other 7 games, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.
Nothing. Nada. Zilch. Zip.
It's like, how many times did I watch, the Central Mass football highlights package, and they do the highlights, but they have to leave during the third quarter or so because they've got to get back to Worcester to edit it all together. And how many times did the package show the other team dominating throughout the packages at the end, but Fitchburg came back and won?
Yeah, oh, by the way, Fitchburg won. We won't show you how, but trust us, they won. Short bouncing kick picked up on a hop at the 21-yard line, goes straight up the middle, finally breaks a tackle, brought down across midfield in Raider territory. The kickoff return team has been the best offense for Hingham. Cooper Estes making another big impact there. Dan, he picked that up. Basically, it was almost like he was taking a handoff. He was able to get a full head of steam and just charge right through.
He's just able to get his momentum working. And then like a freight train, Cooper Estes, the St. Anselm commit, on the run there. It's a 33-yard kickoff return there. And it gives the Harbormen very solid field position.
So we saw just a moment ago, just about 5 minutes to play here in the first half. Still plenty of time for Hingham. Of course, the Raiders will get the ball to start the third quarter, so it becomes even more important for the Harbormen. You want to put some points on the board here. The offense was able to break through a little bit on the last drive. We'll see if they can build off of that. Pierce takes the shotgun snap, hands off. It's a double pitch. Actually, it's going to throw it. Estes wants a big play, wide open, a little bit underthrown, but still caught. Brought in by Matt Lahiff. Well, Dan, they need something to open Fitchburg up. They're down by 2 scores. Let's dig a little bit deeper into the playbook. Let's do a toss and a reverse and have Estes throw it.
Bit of trickery there, but Cooper Estes trying to show everyone what he can do. And a 26-yard completion to Matt Lahiff. It's going to give the Harbormen great field position to work with.
And if Estes was able to get everything behind that pass and hit Lahiff in stride, he was gone. There was 5 yards between Lahiff and the nearest Fitchburg defender when that ball was released. The only reason it wasn't a touchdown was the pass was a little bit underthrown. But still, a really well-designed play, excellent execution by the Harbormen. A big gainer for them, gets them to about the 20-yard line and takes us to, what are we calling this, the mid-quarter mask break?
It might be. I think they also may have signaled a timeout for Fitchburg.
Also a possibility. Raiders just want to catch their breath, take a little bit of the wind out of the sails of the Harbormen, so to speak. That sounds like something Raiders would do. Board the ship, cut the sails, make sure they can't get away. This is all logical. I like this.
Yep. Oh, you bet. The matchup just gives us the storylines to work with. The narratives write themselves.
That's true. I should play Sea of Thieves. I could make more jokes.
Ooh.
Hingham has it 1st and 10 at the Red Raider 20-yard line. They trail in this game 20-7. Pierce takes the snap, hands off straight up the middle, diving to the right, out of 1 tackle. Patrick Petrullo gets himself a pretty good gain. I think he picked up about 6. We'll call it 2nd down and 4 now for Hingham.
Spot it right about there. Petrullo trying to gain some more yardage on these. The last couple runs have looked pretty good for him. He was averaging 2 yards a carry at one point. Now 10 from his last 2.
Now Estes will take it on the jet sweep. Good containment initially, but he finally turns the corner. runs out of bounds. I think he was dragged down or at least grabbed in the back of the shirt. Cooper Estes out of bounds inside the 5-yard line. There is a Raider down. I believe that's Colin Dudek on the far sideline. You also see Devin Barasano there grabbing at his side, but it is Colin Dudek who is down and in need of medical attention. We've already seen one Red Raider go down with an injury. That was Mazias Newton on just the second play of the game. Newton has not returned to action since then. Now the Fitchburg defense may be without Colin Dudek as well.
It does make things challenging, and one of the things we've also mentioned as well is, or if we haven't mentioned it yet, we should mention that each team is limited to dressing 45 players in a game. That's a new COVID regulation for this season. And teams aren't allowed to dress anyone that's not going to play. Only people who have a reasonable chance of actually participating in the contest are to dress. Fitchburg has listed a roster of 44 players. They may have more available with junior varsity, but the varsity roster that we've got does have 44 players on it. So we can be fairly certain that anyone who appears on that roster has a chance to appear in the game. For Hingham, their roster is 58 players, combined varsity and junior varsity. A very young team as well, 32 sophomores among that group of 58.
While we have a moment, we want to thank one more time the underwriters who help make this and every production possible at FATV. FATV Productions are underwritten by Workers Credit Union, Rollstone Bank and Trust, UMass Memorial Health Alliance Clinton Hospital, North End Subaru, Unitil, Research Results, Minuteman Press, MART, and the Sentinel and Enterprise.
We'd also like to point out, just a thought here. Historic Crocker Field, recognized for its beauty and listed on the National Register of Historical Places. Located in the heart of the community and built in 1918, this central Massachusetts field has a fabled history in the hearts of Fitchburg High School alumni and a magnificent future in the Fitchburg community. Be part of the restoration and donate today. Learn how you can help the Crocker Field Restoration Committee online at crockerfield.org. Donations can be sent to Crocker Field Restoration, 140 Arnhow Farm Road, Fitchburg, Massachusetts, 01420. And don't forget that all donations are tax deductible.
We've first and goal here for Hingham inside the 5, call it at the 2-yard line. Lining up in the backfield for the Harbormen is Will Griffin. First time we've seen him today. Pierce fakes the snap, now takes it, hands off to Griffin running to his right, and he just bulldozes his way in. Touchdown Hingham. Will Griffin playing the role of Jerome Bettis. Short yardage, you want to bowl some guys over, you go to Griffin, the big junior listed as a linebacker. He had a 2-yard touchdown run in the last game against Plymouth North. He has a 2-yard touchdown run here.
Well, they know that's how to use him in those short yardage situations, and he does basically what he did 6 days ago against Plymouth North, drives through the line for 6. Hingham back within a score.
Extra point attempt, high snap but brought down. Kick is up and good. You can see the scoreboard in the background there. I bet we'll be zooming in on it. Hey, here we go. 4:13 left to play here in the first half. It is 20-14 for Fitchburg. Dan, after the Raiders dominated the first quarter, Hingham has really come back here in the first half of the second. It's been, kind of back and forth now. They've stymied the Fitchburg offense once, although Fitchburg was still able to score, and Hingham's offense has really come alive. This is looking like it could be a shootout.
Yes, Hingham has really started to turn it on a little bit here. I mean, they've had a bit of short yardage. They haven't been starting a drive, in their own territory in a little while. So that's been the big difference. 17-yard drive, 46-yard drive there for Hingham that time. Only took a little over a minute, but the way these teams are playing, Hingham's starting to get the hang of things. And for Fitchburg, their running game very much has had the hang of things.
So Hingham will kick off. They've managed to once again get this to within a 1-score game. For the Harbormen defense, it really has to be, if you get a quick stop here, you can get your offense the ball back, maybe a chance to go into halftime with the lead. Good kick, high, long, taken in at about the 11-yard line. Returned out across the 25 to maybe the 28. Brian Rivera with the return. Ball came loose at the end there, but I believe they're going to rule that Rivera was down. Yes, indeed they will. So no recovery for Hingham. It will be 1st and 10 for the Red Raiders. Fitchburg, Dan, really hasn't had the advantage of field position the way Hingham has, but when you have Anthony Oquendo in your backfield, it's only a matter of time.
And that's been a huge gain for the Raiders. Just, it seems like as we've seen in 4 drives, the first play from scrimmage has been a big gain on a run. We've seen it twice from Oquendo. We've seen Devin Barasano get some big runs as well.
Oquendo and Barasano are in the backfield. Barasano on the right, Oquendo on the left of the quarterback, Montgomery Graham. Oquendo gets the carry, running straight up the middle, bursting through into the second level, stiff-arming a man, dragging 3, 4, 5 Harbormen with him before he is finally dragged down across the midfield line into Hingham territory. Mark him down at the 43-yard line. A first down, first play of the drive, and it's a big gain on the ground for Anthony Oquendo. Dan, it's like you can predict this stuff.
28 yards he got on the ground right there. It's just too easy when you have number 7 there.
It's really, really easy, especially on those first plays of the drive. Once again, Oquendo bursts through, sets Fitchburg up into Hingham territory. Plenty of time for them to work with. Oquendo will stay in the backfield alongside Barasano. Graham calling signals, hands to Barasano this time on first down, and this time he does not get much at all before he is wrapped up. He basically went right into the arms of Samuel Apadesano. He was spun around, might have gotten back to the line of scrimmage, but that is it. It'll be 2nd down and 10 for Fitchburg.
No gain for Barasano on that one, now up to 65 yards on the ground today. Well, it doesn't move from the last play nonetheless. Oquendo 138 yards on the ground. The Red Raiders have 256 yards on the ground.
That's good, right? That seems like a lot.
And we're still in the second quarter.
Yeah, it's the second quarter. Fitchburg has scored 3 touchdowns. They have over 250 yards on the ground. This has been a really impressive showing from the Fitchburg offense. Now on 2nd down and 10, they'll go I formation, bring in Angel Alejandro as the fullback. I believe Oquendo actually tripped behind the line of scrimmage. We finally found someone who can stop Anthony Oquendo. It's Anthony Oquendo.
Just stumbled, fell to the ground, and ultimately a gain of just 1 yard for Oquendo. And it'll bring up a 3rd down.
Saw Fitchburg mix up the look a little bit there. They go under center with the I formation, bring in a fullback as opposed to the 2 tailbacks. Looked like it was developing into a pretty good play, but Oquendo just blew a tire, lost his footing, only able to pick up 1 yard.
It's only about 90 fans at most for Hingham on the near sideline, but they're making a lot of noise.
Some good crowd support for the Harbormen. Fitchburg crowd on the far side will be cheering on their Red Raiders after this timeout. It is called by Hingham. Folks, we want to remind you of a couple of different things. First of all, once again, at halftime, FATV is going to be airing a video package remembering longtime Fitchburg resident and play-by-play announcer Dave Clark, who we lost far too early just last month in February. Dave tirelessly served his community as a school committee member, ward counselor, counselor at large for many years. He was a member of the Crocker Field Restoration Committee, who we just spoke about earlier, as well as a board member at Fitchburg Access Television. He was, and it's easy for me to say, but it's true, he was a legend in Fitchburg. He did play-by-play for more than 40 years with his partner Mike Flynn, first on WEIM, which then became WPKZ, before they both moved over here to FATV as a volunteer. Dave is, of course, greatly missed, and he will be remembered by everyone who had the pleasure of knowing him. And again, we're going to be airing a special video tribute to Dave Clark at halftime, which is coming up not too far from now. But before that, we have a 3rd down and 8 to contend with here. Fitchburg set up at the 42-yard line of Hingham. They show blitz and back off. Graham fakes the handoff, wants to go long. He throws deep. It is overthrown. Intended, I say intended loosely, but intended for Tyler Crom. There was nobody there. Pass was well out of the reach of both Crom and the Harborman defenders. I kind of thought, Dan, like Fitchburg might go for a middling distance there and then go for it on 4th. But now they're in the interesting situation of 4th down and 8 at the opposing team's 42. What do you do here if you're interim head coach Greg Graham?
Haven't we seen Hingham in this situation a couple of times already?
Couple of times. One time it was their first drive and they decided to kick. On their second drive, they were in this position on 3rd down, and then they got sacked out of it, and it made the decision to punt very easy. I mean, honestly, if I'm Greg Graham, I call my kids a number. I go shotgun like 3 or 4 wide receivers and run a QB draw and see what happens.
And Hingham's going to call timeout again. Should be their 3rd timeout if we've kept count correctly, with 3 minutes and change to go. Again, we don't have access to a clock, only when the camera pans over.
Sure we do. We just have to focus our energies and hope that somebody scores a touchdown, because that seems to be the only time he shows the clock. But if we focus our energies and send positive thoughts to camera operators in Hingham, pan right, camera operators, it's not working, is it? Say it with me, Dan. Pan right.
Pan right.
Pan right. No? It's not working. Okay, fine. So we expect that Hingham is out of timeouts, and there are 3 minutes? It feels like 3 minutes? Maybe a little less?
Maybe about 3 minutes feels about right.
3 minutes, maybe 2:30. I'm going to say there's 2:47 left in the half. Don't take that as official, but that's the John Gugerty clock right there. How about that? So it'll be 4th down and 8 for Fitchburg. They will go for it. They have Oquendo and Barasano to either side of Graham. Now Barasano goes in motion. Graham steps back, throws a quick slant to the left side. Incomplete. It was intended once again for Tyler Crom. Pass was thrown hard, but the accuracy wasn't there. Crom could not bring it in. Fitchburg turns it over on downs, and Hingham will have a chance. Dan, he's panning right. He's panning right. Okay, 1:29. We undershot how much time had passed. So Hingham with no timeouts and 89 seconds to work with. They have pretty good field position once again, but they will have to move on the quick step if they want to get into the end zone here.
58 yards from goal, and ultimately, that's not terrible considering. I'm just thinking again, the 2 previous drives that they scored touchdowns on, they started in Red Raider territory. This time they've got to start in their own side of the field. But we've seen them throw the ball, we've seen them run with it. Cooper Estes can definitely gain some yards.
Dylan Pierce, the junior quarterback, will take the shotgun snap. Rolls to his left, under pressure, turns, throws left. That pass is caught. Going to be brought down just across the line to gain. It'll be a 1st down in Raider territory. No, excuse me, is this going to be the least generous spot in the history of football? I could have sworn he was across the line, Dan.
I thought he had it too.
They're calling it a gain of 9. Clock continues to move. Hingham hurries up to the line, and of course the video feed pauses at this critical juncture. We have whistles, and an incomplete pass has been thrown, and I do apologize.
Unfortunately, that's the one challenge with streaming.
It was an incomplete pass thrown by Hingham. We are all doing our best here. We do sincerely thank the folks in Hingham for getting us this YouTube feed, allowing us to rebroadcast their coverage of the game. Unfortunate that it happened there, but hey, at least you didn't miss a touchdown, right?
Could have been far worse.
Could have been far, far worse. So an incomplete pass thrown stops the clock. 3rd down and 1 now for Hingham.
Hingham's 0 for 5 on 3rd down today, too.
Under pressure is Purse. It's a screen, as you heard, called out. Pass was thrown too high, though. Patrick Petrullo, the intended receiver, he did have linemen in front of him, but Dylan Pierce was under just too much pressure. Couldn't get the accuracy as the Raiders defense was bearing down on him. Believe that was Erickson Danger who put Pierce in, well, danger.
Just charging so quickly, and hey, commentator's curse didn't come into play there.
No, it did not. All right, so now it is 4th down and 1 for Hingham. They will line up to go for it. I'm a little surprised they're not just doing a QB sneak here, but They will go from the shotgun. Motion, and they get the jump. Why snap the ball when you can get the jump? You see the frustration immediately from Jesus Padilla. He was fooled. The second time today, Fitchburg has jumped on 4th down and handed Hingham a first down. The first time they did it, it wound up leading to a touchdown. If you're a Red Raider partisan, you have to hope that it doesn't come to pass that way again.
And again, this continues to be a problem stemming back to last year.
First down and 10 for Hingham at the Fitchburg 44. Pierce play action, wants to throw, throws to the right side, passes caught, breaking out of one tackle, running forward, brought down in the middle of the field, short of the line to gain. Catch is made by Matt Lahiff. Hingham will hurry to the line, try to get a spike. Time has got to be running short here in the half. Officials letting them get up to the line. They will snap the ball and spike it. Stopping the clock, it'll bring up 3rd down and about a yard. 3rd and 2. Can hear the discussion on the Hingham sideline. Again, Hingham is the home team here, so Hingham is on the near sideline. Our microphone there, I believe it's just a microphone on board with the camera, picking up some Hingham sideline conversation. Can hear someone there saying 3rd and 2, coach. And it is, in fact, 3rd down and 2 for the Harbormen in the final seconds of this first half. Pierce takes the shotgun snap, looks right, throws right, pass is caught. It's going to be a first down and not much more than that. Catch made by Cooper Estes. They will stop the clock to move the chains. Hingham will hurry up to the line, try to get another snap off. They will snap it and spike it immediately, sacrificing it down to stop the clock. You can see Hingham's sideline is furious. Don't know if it's with the aggressive defense of Fitchburg, but you see one of the linemen there given a stern talking to. It'll be 2nd and 10 now for Hingham at the Fitchburg 33. Harbormen trailing the Raiders by 1 score here. Again, Fitchburg will receive the ball to start the 3rd quarter. So for Hingham, this is a very important possession if they can go into the locker rooms either tied or with the lead.
But only precious seconds on the clock.
Can't be that many. They are at the 33-yard line. Pierce rolling to his left, throws to his left. That pass is incomplete. Closest Harborman in the vicinity was Cian Nicholas. It's an interesting play call, Dan. You've got the right-handed quarterback, Dylan Pierce, but Hingham likes to roll him out to his left and kind of have him designed to throw against his body. That time it didn't work out. The pass for Nicholas was well off target.
Indeed, and I was also able to get a glimpse of the clock on that last play. There's 18 seconds left.
18 seconds left in the first half. Hey, you can have a world title match at WrestleMania in 18 seconds. It's happened. Hingham under pressure gets the screen pass off, breaking out of one tackle and another, but going to be brought down across the 30-yard line. The clock will continue to move. Hingham's got to hurry up to the line. It's going to be 4th down here. They can't spike it. Do they know that? No, the clock is going to run out. That will be the end of the first half. Fitchburg's defense stands tall. They go to the locker rooms with the score 20-14. Dan, it got a little dicey for the Raiders, especially on the defensive end at the end of that first half, but you have to be really impressed with the way Fitchburg has played.
Absolutely, with how the Raiders have played offensively. You just look at the stats, 257 yards on the ground in the first half, 275 yards in all offensively, holding Hingham to just 124 yards. You know, a couple mistakes here and there have led to Hingham getting great field position, which has led to those 2 touchdown drives. But still, really happy with that first half for Fitchburg, one of their best first halves in quite a while.
A fantastic first half for the Raiders. We're going to break it down as much as we can in just a moment. But as we've said a couple of times, folks, we lost a dear dear friend of ours in Dave Clark, a legend of Fitchburg sports. His legend grows obviously far beyond his contributions to FATV, but he was a dear friend of ours, someone who's been calling games here in Fitchburg for over 40 years, passed away just last month. And right now we're going to take a special video look at Dave Clark.
But Dave was a master, and he, because he's been in Fitchburg his entire life, he's got this wealth of experience as city councilor, all the committees he's on, Crockerfield. So he's got all these bits of information to draw upon to do it. But even sometimes, particularly towards the end of a game, you start running out of things. But Dave always had something to add, and it started that one night when he turned to Mike and he said, things were kind of slow, he says, 2 peanuts were walking down the street. One of them was assaulted. By the way, you only have that for you.
Yeah, it's my first line. It might have been said as the first line, and it stayed with the first line with peanuts. Then I just adjusted it by some different animals, not just peanuts or anything like that.
Two peanuts were walking down the street. One of them was assaulted. It was always a privilege and always a pleasure to work with Dave Clark up until the very end. I was telling Dan before we started about the first time I worked a game with Dave Clark. It was a hockey championship game 11 years ago. It was 2010. I was an intern at FATV. We had a skeleton crew on the broadcast. It was literally me, Tyler Knapp, Mark Rocheleau, and Travis Falk, and that was it. The 4 of us were the entire crew for this hockey championship game. I called the game solo, and in the third period, I don't know if he was in the stands or if he was watching at home and he decided to come to the Civic Center. Dave Clark just poked his head in the press box and said, "Hey, would you like a partner for the third period?" And I got to call a game with Dave Clark, and I was over the moon. And then, 8-9 years later, they asked me to do the Fitchburg High School games with Dave and Mike, and I was over the moon. And every Friday night, it was such a privilege to be in that booth and to share a laugh with him. I won't pretend that I was Dave Clark's closest friend. He and I didn't hang out much outside of FATV, but every time he saw me, he had a smile, he had a handshake, and everybody loved and respected Dave Clark. And it's not going to be the same place without him. It's rest in peace, Dave. Dan, moving back awkwardly to the matter of a football game. Fitchburg leading this one at halftime by a score of 20-14. Is it? It's 20-14, right? I totally lost the.
What the heck just happened?
I totally lost the flow of the football game, and we totally lost the lights in the studio. Nate, are we on? I'm going to operate as though we are on. So we are calling a radio broadcast in the dark here, folks. We apologize for that. It is 20-14 Fitchburg at the half, doing the best we can here. Fitchburg's offense has really dominated the first half of this game, though. Dan?
Indeed, yes. As we
Does
mentioned,
your laptop have a battery on it? Do you need a light?
No, I mean, my laptop's still up. I have that.
Good. Why don't we fill with some stats here?
Yeah, so, the headset still works.
The headset works. I can hear myself. I can hear you. I think we're on the air.
I hope so. I mean, my goodness, what the heck has just happened here? But nonetheless, as we mentioned, 275 yards on the ground for the 257 yards on the ground for the Red Raiders in the first half, 18 through the air. That one pass complete to Darnell Thomas. That was the opening touchdown of the game for the Red Raiders. And Montgomery Graham, 5 carries, 53 yards. Anthony Oquendo, 9 carries, 139 yards. Devin Barasano, 7 carries for 65 yards. Oquendo and Barasano with touchdowns. As we mentioned, Darnell Thomas has a reception as well. For Hingham, Dylan Pierce, six completions for 15 attempts, 49 yards. Also 3 carries for 37 yards is what I've got him down as. And Cooper Estes had a completion for 26 yards on some trickeration that eventually led to a touchdown for Hingham some plays later. Patrick Petrullo has 10 carries for 26 yards. And they've been going mainly with Estes, who has 4 carries for 22 yards, but Petrillo as well, 10 carries. He's got the bulk of it there. Matt Lahiff, 2 carries for 34 yards. Sia Nicholas, a carry for 10. Cam Vidal, 1 catch for 9 yards. William Griffin had that 2-yard touchdown plunge that made it 20-13, then the extra point. And Hingham, so 97 yards on the ground, 75 through the air for 172 total. And you look at the penalties, Fitchburg 6 penalties for 40 yards, Hingham 1 penalty for 1 yard.
I see. Well, that was there was a personal foul, so they could have assessed 15 on that. But still, Dan, the penalty yardage is something that we have to keep an eye on for Fitchburg as we move into the second half here. It's been something that's been an issue for the Raiders as, dating back to last season. One thing I want to mention coming out of the statistics you read off there, Dylan Pierce only 6 out of 15 through the air. Not a terribly impressive percentage, but I think Hingham is doing just enough through the air, especially in that second quarter, to where they loosened up the Fitchburg defense. We mentioned the trick play that got the 22-yard completion for the Harbormen. That was a really important play for them, and it just, it let them open up again. It opens up the Fitchburg defense, which lets them get more yardage on the ground, and I think that's a big contributor to why Hingham was able to get those 2 touchdowns and get back into this game. Because to be perfectly honest with you, Dan, at the end of the first quarter, this was looking like a Fitchburg blowout. Fitchburg was up 13-0. They had scored on both of their possessions. Hingham didn't have anything going offensively. It looked like it was going to be a laugher, and credit to the Harbormen for keeping this game close.
It's been a great performance there on both sides. Hingham really sticking in it and definitely taking advantage of a couple of miscues that the Red Raiders had. We saw that botched punt. That's the only time we've actually seen Fitchburg try to punt in this contest, too, which shows to how efficient their offense has been today.
And it's going to be something to watch the next time Fitchburg faces 4th down. I mean, we did see them go for it on 4th and 8 at about the 42-yard line in the first half. So maybe Fitchburg is a little bit hesitant to go with a punt based on what happened that first time they tried to kick it away. I mean, credit to Alexander McCloskey. He's been doing it. He's been the punter. He's been the kicker. It hasn't been a terribly, physically impressive performance from McCloskey to where you think, oh, you absolutely have to let this guy kick it because he's going to boom one. That hasn't been the case. So it's going to be interesting to see Fitchburg's punting unit going forward. Are they going to be a little bit more aggressive on these 4th downs?
It's going to be something to watch out for. Fitchburg's going to start with the ball in the third quarter as well, which is going to help matters. In addition,
teams are just still huddling along at midfield. Again, halftime rather, is limited to 10 minutes. Bit of chaos going on here at the studio, so I will confess I have lost track of how much time it has been. It probably hasn't been 10 minutes. Time seems to feel very long when you're stretching and filling and things are going bad on TV. Like you feel like you're talking for 45 minutes and then you look up and it's been 12 seconds. So that's how I feel right now. How are you doing?
It's been one of those things. I remember, I did a radio game a couple of years ago where, we were at the TD Garden state championship game. It was going to be Wachusett and Hopkinton, 11 a.m. puck drop scheduled, but they were doing championship day at the Garden, so 6 games is what they had. They had the girls hockey game before us between Notre Dame of Hingham and Wellesley, and that game went to overtime.
Oh, fun.
That's it was late in the third when we went on the air, and then the game goes to overtime, so we're just for some reason, we decided not to throw to a break. We just decided to vamp and vamp and vamp.
Yeah, because they probably won't let you call the game that's happening in front of you. That's against the rules.
Perhaps, yeah. I mean, we were seriously considering it, though, as it was getting close to the end of the overtime. and so we vamped it and turned. Let's see. Wellesley ended up scoring with 20 seconds to go in the overtime. Just as I was about to say, there's 20 seconds to go in the overtime, and then they score at that moment, because before that, if the siren had gone off, they were going to have to make ice. There's going to be another many minutes that we were going to be not calling the game that we're there to call. And it was just going completely crazy at that point. But fortunately, we got bailed out by that sudden death goal. But yeah, everything else just going crazy. And
I had a thought, Dan, based on the situation that we're running into here in the studios at FATV. Basically, folks, we have lost some measure of our power to where the lights are off and we cannot see what is happening in Hingham. But I have a smartphone, so if you tell me what the YouTube channel is they're broadcasting from, I can actually bring that game up on my smartphone.
yes, and I have, it's the Hingham YouTube page.
Hingham YouTube page, okay.
All right. And
I should have had this thought 5 minutes ago. I apologize.
Yep, and I probably also should have logged into the Wi-Fi here.
Maybe not, because that might be down.
I was getting something for it.
Okay.
Yep, you were seeing live troubleshooting on the air, folks.
Okay, so again, Fitchburg leading this game 20-14 at the half. Fitchburg has scored 3 touchdowns. They did have a botched extra point on their first possession. That kick was blocked, would have been returned for a touchdown, or rather a 2-point conversion, but they do not do that at the NFHS, National Federation of High Schools, or something like that?
Yep, the National Federation of High Schools, and so they just had the kickoff there.
That's good.
And it was Fitchburg kicking off.
I see.
Didn't we think Fitchburg was going to start with the ball?
I assumed so, given that Hingham started with the ball in the first half. But perhaps I was wrong.
Yeah, so, and now officials are on the field and discussing what's just gone on there. Actually, the kick may have gone out of bounds. Actually, that's what happened. The kick went out of bounds.
That would be an issue.
Yep, and so, yeah, no, Fitchburg definitely, I just went back in my log. Fitchburg kicked off to start the game, yes. I don't know, unless, is it possible that
They took the wind?
or,
I have no idea.
or is it possible Fitchburg's already scored a touchdown since we...
Also possible. That is also possible. We have been vamping and stalling for quite a bit of time here.
I'm actually going to try to drag this bar back a little bit and see if I could see what's happened. That's not helpful. Well, it's 4 minutes before. Again, live troubleshooting. We're trying to figure out what's going on here.
Okay, well, let me tell you what I see. I see Fitchburg just now lining up to kick off. Is that what you see?
I'm going to go back live. I didn't see anything, so...
All right, so let me call this action as I see it here. It is a short kick picked up at about the 35-yard line and tackled there immediately for Hingham. On the return there for the Harbormen is Brendan Hill, I believe. So Brendan Hill on the return for Hingham. Folks, again, we do apologize for all of the, again, it is a minor miracle of engineering that we are able to bring this game to you at all. I do apologize that the broadcast has not been as smooth as we would like. We want to thank the folks in Hingham for allowing us the opportunity to make this possible. So it looks like the Harbormen will take over 1st and 10 at their own 36-yard line. Presumably, I don't know, do we want to assume that Fitchburg scored already? I don't know what the score is.
Yeah, that's a I don't think they did. They may have taken the wind.
They may have taken the win. So let's assume that this is the first drive of the second half here. Handoff goes straight up the middle. Not much there, brought down after a gain of a couple. Devin Barasano on the tackle. Barasano has really been a two-way threat for the Raiders today.
Indeed. And do we see who got the carry there? I think that was Petrullo there.
I deliberately avoided saying that. Sorry.
Yep.
But
Give it to him.
It'll be 2nd down and 8 for Hingham.
And we hope you have the video feed up at home. We actually have no idea, again, what you can see at home either.
They're hearing us. That's what matters. I hope.
I hope so, too.
Second down handoff goes to Petrullo, cuts up the near side, his left side. He gets into Raider territory before being dragged out of bounds. That'll move the chains. It'll be a first down for the Harbormen. Give credit on the tackle to, let's say Jesse Ramos. He was in the area. Hingham offense is moving into Fitchburg territory. I'm sorry, Dan, you were saying?
And that's just another example of that drive coming to the near side again. Hingham loves to run to the flanks. That's definitely one of their bread and butter. Just as often as they'll try to plunge through the middle, they'll try to run to the outside, and that's what Petrullo is doing there. Gains 13 yards for the first.
First and 10 Harbormen at the Raider 49. I almost said Falcons for the first time this season. Pierce pumps. He wants to go long. Throws to the right. Wide open, but overthrown. Incomplete. Can't quite tell who it was intended for, but he had a man there. Just the quick pump and go on the far side. Sounded like it was, or looked like it was going to be a big gainer, but Pierce unfortunately overthrew his man just a little bit.
Just going for that home run pass, trying to stamp their feet with authority in this.
Hingham trying to take back the lead. It will be second down and 10 for the Harbormen, again at the Fitchburg 49-yard line. Now in motion, high snap, handoff goes up the middle, and this play blows up immediately. Breaking through the line of scrimmage was Angel Alejandro. We've seen him in as a fullback for Fitchburg. He also does good work as a linebacker. That time he broke through, blew that play up in the backfield, and the gain was nothing. Actually, he lost a yard. It'll be 3rd and 11. They spot it right at the midfield stripe. I almost slipped into my Boston there for a second. They spot it at the midfield stripe.
Oy.
I don't know what this voice is. It's awful. Should stop it. 3rd down and 11 for Hingham. Pierce calling signals, now in motion, and it's a swing pass to the far side. I think they're going to call this a carry because that was a backward pass. It's a gain of about 8 for Petrullo. He will be short of the line to gain. And Dan, you said that Hingham is a team that likes to go for it on 4th down. This is a situation where you've got to go for it on 4th down, isn't it?
If they don't go for it on 4th down here, then I'm going to assume whoever said they're an aggressive team lied to me.
They were just being ironic. You know, they're aggressive in the way that, you know, Ron Rivera pre-Riverboat Ron is aggressive, right? But they are, in fact, keeping the offense on the field. They need just 3 yards. See Pierce there getting signals from his sidelines, and I think Hingham is actually going to take a timeout.
Mark Nutley wants to talk things over, the second-year head coach for the Harbormen. Formerly was head coach in North Quincy, 5 seasons with them, and then, you know, he played at Fitchburg State in the 90s or so.
Gives us a chance to mention some upcoming sporting events here being telecast on FATV. This coming Wednesday, the 31st of March, the Fitchburg High School volleyball team will be in action, taking on Hudson. Coverage begins at 4 o'clock here on FATV. Then Friday, April 2nd, we're back here for Fitchburg High School football. The Raiders will be taking on Grafton. That's a 4 p.m. kickoff. And then the following day, Saturday, April the 3rd, the Wallace Figure Skating Club will be having their show. That, again, is at 4 o'clock. All of the action there can be found on FATV, which is Comcast Channel 9, Verizon Channel 36, streaming at live.fatv.org/education, or, of course, for those of you who have the Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, or Apple TVs, just search for the FATV app, and you can watch it all there. So 4th down and about 4 for Hingham. They're at the Fitchburg 42. They need to get just inside the 39. And we have, looks like it might have been a stoppage or maybe just Hingham getting signals.
They've also had that happen a couple times where they'll put the man in motion and then they'll stop and rewind as if, oh no, I wasn't supposed to go.
Goes in motion again. It's a direct snap to him. This isn't even a handoff, but it's a very effective play into the open field. Cuts across the 30, brought down at the 25-yard line. Cooper Estes, a big gain on 4th down. Daniel, we talk about Hingham liking to run that jet sweep. That play required some incredible timing. That was a direct snap to the man coming in motion.
Yeah, you've got to time that just right, and that's incredible how they were able to do it as well. But Estes just able to take it directly from the snap and just all in motion. It's like once he gets his motor running, he can be hard to stop, and we've seen that example before, and now we've seen it again.
Now on first down, bouncing it out to the far side is Petrullo. Looked like he wasn't able to get anything initially, but a good second effort from him. He plunges across the 20-yard line, call him down at the 17, no, the 16. It's a gain of 8 for Patrick Petrullo, the senior running back.
Strong gain there for Hingham, and they are making progress on this drive, looking for the lead.
Second down and a couple for Hingham. Down by one score rather, 6 points. Plunges straight forward up the middle. Nothing fancy there for Petrullo, but it is effective. Stop the clock, move the chains. It's a first down for the Harbormen.
Just a plunge up the middle, and again, they are really working hard with Petrullo on this one. It's like Estes gets some carries every now and again, but Petrullo's the one they've been trusting. That senior running back wearing number 4 in the red and white for the Harbormen.
It's a first down for Hingham. They're just outside of Fitchburg's 10, so they can get a first down without scoring a touchdown. Now in motion, and the handoff goes to Estes, trying to find something on the left side, and he doesn't get much. I think he got back to the line of scrimmage, might have gained a yard or two, but not much there. Very good containment by Brian Rivera on the near side. The defensive right side was Brian Rivera, as he was able to corral Estes and keep him from cutting that ball upfield.
And we'll see if that's something that Greg Graham and the rest of the coaching staff has started to notice with how often Hingham likes to go to the flank there.
I think they gave him a gain of 1. We'll call it second down and 9 now at the 12-yard line. Pierce barking signals, claps his hands, and this time he got his own man. Motion before the snap. Cooper Estes took a big step forward. You can't do that, Cooper. That'll be a 5-yard penalty against the Harbormen.
And so that's the biggest penalty that Hingham's taken today. Only one penalty in the game, and that was an unsportsmanlike conduct, a personal foul that was assessed about half a yard because of where they were. But this time, for once, the snap catches Estes off guard. Even the best players make mistakes sometimes.
So now Hingham backed up once again. They face second down and 14. Again, they can get a first down without scoring a touchdown. Pierce back to pass, throws to his right, pass is incomplete. Think he was trying to hit his tight end out on the flat, but the pass was a little too long for him. Pierce's accuracy has been an issue over the course of the game today. That pass falling incomplete. It'll be third down and long.
Let's see. So I've got him has 6 for 17 on the day, although that does include, I believe, 2 spikes. I can't remember if those are supposed to count against you in regards to that.
Don't look at me, man. Be third down now and 14 for Hingham. Pierce will have one man in the backfield with him. That's Patrick Petrullo. They'll line up in the pistol. Couple of tight ends on the right side. Straight drop for Pierce, under pressure, now rolls to his right, lays it off short, wide open, nobody there in front of him, walking into the end zone untouched. Matt Lahiff, touchdown for the Harbormen. A complete breakdown in coverage for the Red Raiders. Hingham able to find the open man, and Lahiff gets into the end zone.
Just able to buy some time, rolling out to the right side there was the quarterback in Pierce, and he's able to find Lahiff, his favorite receiver, get over 100 yards last week against Plymouth North. That time able to get open and get to the land of 6 and get Hingham to 20 in this contest. And now Lahiff's going to try the extra point.
Mentioned Pierce's accuracy as a potential problem. No issues there. Extra point attempt is up, and it is good. And unless something really untoward happened in the few minutes where we weren't watching this game, Hingham has just taken the lead. We believe the score is 21-20, and we will find out shortly. Come on, keep going. Yeah, follow the team. Now pan right and show us the scoreboard. Oh, it's like I'm directing the broadcast. 21-20 Hingham with 8:06 to play here in the third quarter. The Harbormen take the lead.
So, again, a curious choice. You know, they decided to take the wind as opposed to taking the ball.
It is a very strong wind.
It is, 15 to 20 miles an hour is what we've been told. It's been rather gusty here. I suspect that may have led to why we are watching the game on our smartphones right now.
It's entirely possible. I mean, maybe all of Fitchburg doesn't have power. Maybe everyone is watching this game on their smartphones. Maybe you all have loaded up your mobile browsers and gone to fatv.org and you're watching the education stream, and if so, I thank you. Because presumably you can hear us. I actually haven't had confirmation of that. We could just be doing this to entertain ourselves.
We have no idea what's going on in this.
That's not entirely true. I have seen Nate and Travis running around like chickens with their heads cut off. I'm sure they are excellent professionals who are doing the best they can. I don't want to impugn their integrity or their talent. They're doing great. We just have no idea what's going on. We're just calling a football game. So the kickoff here bounces at about the 10-yard line, goes out of bounds, but in the end zone, so it will be a touchback. Fitchburg will take over at the 20. Dan, is it still the 20?
It's the 20 in high school.
Thank you. It'll be the 20-yard line for Fitchburg.
And yes, so because the Red Raiders chose the wind, that means in the third quarter, they're kicking with the wind at their backs going forward. The wind is in Hingham's favor, but it will be in Fitchburg's favor in the fourth.
And that could well play a difference. Game comes down to a late field goal or an extra point. We've already seen Fitchburg have some troubles with the extra point. Fitchburg offense back on the field now for the first time in the second half. Handoff goes up the middle. For a second, Dan, I thought, no, it is in fact not going to be a very big play on the first play of the drive. First time in a while you could say that. Anthony Oquendo only, and you can put a certain amount of air quotes around the word only, picks up 8 yards.
And there is a Harborman that's slow to get up. You see a couple of Harbormen go to their knees as that one tries to get up now, and that hopping on 1 foot there is Liam Collins, and he's one of the best players that Hingham has to offer on defense.
Collins has been a standout on defense for the Harbormen. The senior defensive lineman actually recovered a fumble in the game against Plymouth North that Hingham won. Hingham again coming into this game already with a win on their ledger. Fitchburg playing their very first game since the Thanksgiving loss back in 2019. Which, despite it feeling like a decade and a half, was in fact a year and a half ago. It's been a long year and a half. Handoff on second down goes straight up the middle. This is Oquendo. He fights through tacklers. He's still on his feet. I think Hingham maybe thought the play was dead. Oquendo is almost out to midfield, finally tackled at the Fitchburg 48-yard line.
Maybe that was Barisano with the run there.
I thought it was Oquendo, but maybe it was Barisano.
Thought I saw number 4 coming away from that, and there is a Raider that's slow to get up as well.
There's a certain amount of forgiveness that will be requested from commentators who are calling games off of their smartphones. It is Devin Barisano who is hobbling off the field, so I think we can go ahead and give him credit for that big gain on second down. Barisano, though, unfortunately heading for the sidelines. Looks like he may have injured his leg. Doesn't look to be... Well, you don't want to speculate too much, but Barisano is up and walking under his own power, so those are good signs. We'll keep an eye on that. But if he is out for any extended period of time, it is a significant injury for Fitchburg. Barisano, part of the two-headed monster in the backfield with Anthony Oquendo. You just saw him get a big gain there.
You see Oquendo with those yellow sneakers, yellow gloves. Will stick right out there.
Now on first down, it is Oquendo. Plowing up the middle. Gets a gain of about 5. And, you get a 5-yard gain on first down. You're super happy, but at the same time, it's like, oh, only 5? Huh, okay. Well, I guess we'll take it. Ho hum. So you get a little bit spoiled having an explosive presence like Anthony Oquendo in your backfield, Dan.
Indeed, just how he's able to drive play. Forces that line there and goes from the 48 to the 48 there is what it appears. So second down and 6 to go.
And on 2nd and 6, it is Anthony Oquendo again, this time on the left side. He plunges forward. He's very close to the sticks. It'll depend on the spot. I believe they're going to spot him maybe half a yard shy of the line to gain. Actually, a full yard shy. It'll be 3rd down and 1 based on where they're positioning the football. So a couple of good solid runs for Fitchburg after the big gain from Barisano. It'll be 3rd and 1 now for the Raiders. They're into Harborman territory at the 43. Montgomery Graham getting signals from his coach, who is also his dad, and I'm sure that's awkward at times. 3rd and 1 for the Raiders. Handoff goes up the middle. This is Barisano back on the field. Good to see from that perspective. Some pushing and shoving after the play. Barisano is down after a gain of a couple. Dan, based on the rumbling I hear, I think they've started the truck, which is, it's probably a smart idea. We've got a full-fledged production truck about 35 feet away from us. We could do a remote broadcast from the studios of FATV.
It might be a mask break time as well, so I think we've reached the halfway point of this 3rd quarter of play with the score Hingham 21 and Fitchburg 20.
Hingham exploding on their first drive of this 3rd quarter, getting themselves back out, actually in front for the first time. First time Hingham has taken the lead today.
Hingham just fighting their way, and they've been able to take more and more advantage of the miscues in the Red Raider defense.
Dan, we mentioned that we may be calling the rest of this game as a remote production. Why don't we thank some of the underwriters who make FATV's remote productions a possibility?
Indeed, we'd like to thank Workers Credit Union, Rollstone Bank and Trust, UMass Memorial Health Alliance Clinton Hospital, North End Subaru, Unitil, Research Results, Minuteman Press, Mart, and the Sentinel and Enterprise.
And again, of course, folks, this game coming to you sort of from Hingham and sort of from the FATV production truck and sort of from the Workers Credit Union studios at Fitchburg Access Television on Kimball Street. It has been an adventure, to say the least, here as we reach the halfway point of the 3rd quarter. Thank you all so much for sticking with us. It's been, I got to say, personally, from my perspective, it feels really good to be calling Red Raider football again.
Yeah,
I know it's March, and I know it's weird. It feels good.
I'm glad to have you back, though.
Pitch to the near side. I believe this is Oquendo, and Oquendo gets absolutely nothing. He is wrapped up by a host of Harbormen. Give the main credit on the tackle to number 58 for Hingham. That'll be Rowan O'Sear-Dubain. So glad we got to call his name.
A sophomore, but he's had a lot of impact on the defensive side for the Harbormen. A loss of a yard is ultimately what's given, so 2nd and 11 for the Red Raiders.
Devin Barisano stays on the field, so whatever injury he sustained appears to have thankfully been a minor one. We'll see if he's operating at full capacity in the remainder of the 3rd and into the 4th quarter. He lines up and goes in motion now. Montgomery Graham throws to the near side right. Pass is complete. Shy of the sticks. Catch made by Brian Rivera. It's a good solid gain. It'll bring up about 3rd down and 5, let's call it.
We haven't seen the Red Raiders go to the air that much. That's, I believe, just the 5th attempt through the air today. But Rivera's going to come up with his first catch of the contest. That'll bring up that 3rd down.
Well, the ground game has been mostly working, but, it started to slow down and sputter a little bit here on this drive. So Fitchburg deciding to go to the air there, picks up an easy 5. And call it 3rd down and 5 now. Graham takes the snap, rolls to his left. He's going to keep it himself. He gets a block from Barisano, shoves through a tackle by himself. He's across the 30-yard line, down at about the 26. Stop the clock, move the chains. That's good for a Fitchburg 1st down.
And I'd like to see Montgomery Graham run the ball a little more, especially on those design plays there, because we know he's got great wheels. And he showed them off right there, even bouncing off that tackle and keeping that play rolling. Another 1st down for the Red Raiders.
Dan, something I want you to keep an eye on is number 20 for the Hingham defense. That's Grant Van Zora. He's got a massive brace on his left knee. You see him shaking it out there. That knee is probably giving him trouble. Might be something for Fitchburg to pick on. Now on 1st down, Graham keeps it himself off of play action, cuts up field, gets across the 20 before being wrapped up and brought down at the 18-yard line. Got some pushing and shoving again away from the play. This time it's Brian Rivera and Drew Ken falling on top of each other, not necessarily absolutely mandatory.
So They'll bring up a 2nd and 2 for the... Yep. Sorry, I've just lost my train of thought.
2nd and 2 for the Raiders. You can see in your background there, 2.5 minutes to play here in the third quarter. Hingham leading Fitchburg in this one 21-20. Graham calling signals from the shotgun, hands it off this time to Barasano. Barasano gets a block from Okendo, cuts it inside, gets another block, and he is in. Touchdown, Raiders!
All those nifty changes of direction there by Barasano. Cutting to the right, further to the right, then to the left. He finds all that space, able to read the paths he needs to find the route that he needs to get into the end zone. 2nd touchdown on the ground today for Devin Barasano.
Devin Barasano from 18 yards out, his 2nd touchdown. Fitchburg now leading 26-21. They will decide to go for the extra point, try to extend the lead to 6. That blocked extra point in the first quarter, Dan, is looming very large right now. Snap is down, kick is up, it is through. So with 2:11 to play here in the third quarter of action, Fitchburg leads Hingham by a score of 27-21.
And what an interesting contest this has been. First game of the day for the Red Raiders. First game of the season.
I should hope it's their first game of the day.
Yep.
You have seen, there have been teams who have played football doubleheaders. We've seen that a couple of times, right? I don't think a Fitchburg team has ever done it, but it's been done.
I know, it's like tackle sport that plays multiple games a day. I was thinking rugby sevens.
Okay.
That's a thing that happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, first game of the season for the Red Raiders, and now they're up at 331 yards of offense. Now 331 yards of rushing. How come I keep getting my wires crossed when I try to read these stats?
Dan, we're sitting in a darkened studio lit by portable lights calling games on our cell phones. Of course we've got wires crossed.
331 yards on the ground, 355 yards of total offense. Now Hingham up to 241 yards of total offense in this contest as well. So that's about 600 yards.
This has, we said it a couple of touchdowns ago, Dan. This has really turned into a shootout. Hingham's offense has stepped up starting at the beginning of the second quarter. Their defense really doesn't have much of an answer for Fitchburg still. This is just teams going up and down the field, scoring pretty much at will now. Kickoff is taken on the run at the 20-yard line. This is Estes. He's going to come all the way to the near sideline and get across the 40, duck out of bounds at about the 48-yard line. Hingham will once again have excellent field position after a short kickoff and a fantastic kick return by Cooper Estes.
Indeed, and Estes, the lead kick returner for the Harbormen, just doing yeoman's work for the red and white today.
Dan, how many return yards does he have? It's got to be close to 100, right?
It probably is. I don't actually keep track of that with this thing, but
Cooper Estes has been a big presence. He's been a presence on, the traditional offensive side of the ball, but most of it is just he's been doing fantastic work as the kickoff returner for Hingham. Now the Harborman offense takes over once again, 1st and 10 at their own 48-yard line. Petrullo running to the right side. Nothing there. Absolutely nothing for Patrick Petrullo. He is brought down by Richard Santana. Loss of at least 5 yards, maybe more than that.
Oh, they'll give him the 41. That's 7.
A loss of 7 on the carry. Petrullo, Dan, he just, he took the handoff and he kept running laterally. He never cut it upfield. He never had the chance to. He finally ran out of room. Santana got him. 2nd down and 17 for the Harbormen. Estes comes in motion, play fake, throwing to the near side and incomplete, underthrown. A huge missed opportunity for Hingham. Sia Nicholas was wide open. Dan, the defender had totally fallen down. If Nicholas had been able to make that catch, he had nobody in front of him. That would have been an easy touchdown. Fortunately for the Raiders, Dylan Pierce's pass was just too off the mark. Behind Nicholas, nothing he could do. If he had caught that, he could have walked in.
And Ben Rivera slamming his hands on the turf he knew the consequences of him falling down there, but he was fortunate that Pierce wasn't able to get what he wanted there on the pass.
Now 3rd down and 17. Hingham has to go to the air again. Pierce throws short this time. Pass is caught. For all the good it'll do, it might have gotten back to the line of scrimmage. They're even going to call that an incomplete pass intended for Matt Lahiff, and Lahiff is doubled over. Very slow to get up. He got hit in the midsection pretty much as that ball hit his hands. He was unable to hold on to it, and Lahiff is going to hobble off the field, and Dan Lahiff's the punter, and it's 4th down.
That's not good news there for Hingham.
What do you do when your punter gets hurt right before 4th down? They do not have another punter listed.
And even then, I sort of had to throw those in as well on the positions when I was putting together the roster based on what I saw in the Plymouth North game. So I have no idea what they're going to do here, but it looks like Lahiff is going to just grit through it there.
Yeah, tough it out, try to get the kick away. You know, if I'm Fitchburg, Dan, I'm sending the house here. This kid just got hit in the gut. He's doubled over now. You put some pressure on him, something good could happen. He just kind of sticks his boot through this one, gets it up high in the air, bounces at the 37, takes a bit of a Hingham bounce, goes out at the 30-yard line. It winds up being a pretty good kick for Matt Lahiff. Good for him, but you could see, Dan, he had no interest in, stepping up and putting every ounce of his strength into that one. He just kind of pooched it on down there. Turned into a pretty good kick.
Just improvising the best he could.
27-21 Fitchburg, exactly 1 minute to play here in the 3rd period. We have what is beginning to resemble a program monitor, which is an excellent development. Going to do a reset here for folks who may just be joining us or may have just rejoined us. It is 27-21 Fitchburg here, 1 minute to play in the 3rd quarter of action. I'm John Gugerty, joined, of course, by Dan Bolak. This is the first Fitchburg High School football game of the season, first since Thanksgiving 2019. The Raiders are in Hingham taking on the Harbormen. 3 days ago, they were supposed to be at Doyle Field taking on Leominster, and a couple of days before that, Hingham was supposed to be facing Duxbury, but, COVID and horrible anti-Semitism happen, I guess. And so Fitchburg and Hingham were both free, and they decided to play a football game. First down handoff goes to the left side. Anthony Oquendo gets nothing, perhaps even less than nothing.
Seemed to have that read well enough. And that was Will Griffin tracking that one. Griffin had a touchdown plunge earlier in this contest. Ultimately, they're going to give him a loss of about a yard.
It'll be 2nd down and 11 after the loss of a yard. Montgomery Graham gets the signals from his head coach, that being interim head coach Greg Graham. And if you notice a resemblance in the last name, well, Greg's his dad. 2nd down and 11 for the Raiders. Handoff goes up the middle once again. This time, a bit more of a positive result for Oquendo. He gets out across the 35 to about the 36. I give him the 37-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down and 5, and that play will be the first play of the 4th quarter. So, Dan, in many, many, many regards, it has been an eventful 3rd quarter of action here on FATV.
I don't think we've called a 3rd quarter quite like this before, John.
No, I think not. Given that we are in the Workers' Credit Union studios at FATV, 15 feet apart from each other, wearing masks, calling the game on our cell phones, while the incredibly talented executive director of FATV and the incredibly talented, what's Travis's title? Guy who does everything, right? The incredibly talented guy who does everything at FATV, Travis Falk, and the incredibly talented executive director, Nate Glenny, furiously run around trying to either restore our broadcast or just restore our monitors or somewhere in between. They're doing everything they can. We're doing everything we can. We want to thank one more time the folks in Hingham for allowing us to repurpose their YouTube broadcast. Using the Hingham Athletics live stream here on YouTube and bringing you the call as best we can. And Dan, on top of all of that, on top of all of the drama, there are 3 dramas here. There's the drama with the production, which we've covered. There's the drama with why this game is happening, which boils down to someone in Leominster got COVID and someone in Duxbury is stupid. So those things happened. This has been, just as a football game, an incredibly entertaining football game.
You don't need the additional narratives to explain how great a football game this has been. And now we start the fourth quarter. Graham going to throw deep, looking for that long home run pass, and it's overthrown. They were looking for Tyler Crom there on the near sideline, and that's not the first time we've seen the Red Raiders try that play. But just like the last time when they tried the home run pass to Crom there, overthrown by the left-handed quarterback, Monty Graham.
They've tried the big homer ball a couple of times. That time it was well defended for Hingham and overthrown as well. Jack McGorry was there covering Tyler Crom. Fitchburg unable to convert on third down, so they will kick it away.
It'll be McCloskey out there to punt it.
First time we've seen McCloskey punt since the bit of a disaster that happened in the second quarter.
Which couldn't handle the snap. Ball went into the end zone, then he tried to punt it away anyway. Was able to get what was, I guess, a 2-yard punt out of it.
Now the Fitchburg punting unit is heading for the sidelines. I think somebody took a timeout here. So a timeout called here. Called by the Raiders.
So we are early in the fourth quarter at Hingham High School. 27 for the Red Raiders, 21 for the Harbormen. It's been a back and forth game as it's developed here in the third quarter.
Hingham's defense just got a key stop. They're about to get the ball back. Fitchburg will be kicking with the wind at their backs, though. That does help. The wind is blowing right to left across your TV screens, or your phone screens, as the case may be.
Yep. And as we also saw, too, Fitchburg chose this option to kick with the wind in their favor, as opposed to taking the ball in the second half to start. And that's another troubling snap there. And it's going to be hauled in there. Oh boy, that's another bad snap to McCloskey. He tries to get a punt off, and ultimately it's only going to go about another 3 yards.
Even with the 3-yard punt, Dan, Fitchburg got a huge break there because Ronan Osier... Oh, God, I'm tripping over the man's name. I apologize. Ronan Osier-Dubain caught that ball on the fly. There was one person wearing white between Ronan Osier-Dubain and the end zone, and that was the punter.
Yep. Take over for me on play-by-play.
I will do that. There was one person between Osier-Dubain and the end zone. It was the punter. Unfortunately for Osier-Dubain, he fell and could not recover until his knee hit the ground. So first down for Hingham now at the Fitchburg 42 after the short punt. Handoff goes to the near side, breaking into open field across the 35 to the 20-yard line. Excuse me, brought out of bounds just inside the 20 is Cian Nicholas. His first big carry of the game. Hingham already inside the Red Raider red zone. They're going to spot him right at the 19-yard line. First and 10 Hingham after the big run by Cian Nicholas. We are just into the fourth quarter of action here. You can see the clock deep in the background there. 11:36 to play. Hingham trails by one score, but they have the ball first and 10 at the Fitchburg 19. Handoff goes to the left side to Petrullo. He evades one tackler, bounces out to the outside. That turns out to be a mistake. Brian Rivera is able to shed his block and takes him down after a gain of a few. Still a pretty good run, though, for Patrick Petrullo. How's your dad?
So I guess I can tell you that there's over 13,000 people without power in Fitchburg right now.
That's bad.
Yep, so it's not just us.
Okay. Well, hopefully some of those people also brought out their phones and also went to FHEV.org and found the education stream. And they are here with us, and we welcome you, and we will keep you company for as long as we can. Second, plunging straight up the middle. This is the big running back, Will Griffin. We saw Griffin from a couple yards out, this time with more of a head of steam. He plows forward, gets a big gain. He's inside the 10. That'll be another Harborman first down. Hingham, Dan, seems very, very difficult for the Red Raiders to stop now. They are knocking on the door of a touchdown that may well give them the lead.
Things just getting more challenging for the Raiders as Hingham really doing well to drive downfield.
First and goal now for the Harbormen.
Look up now.
Graham gets the carry. And I don't know which one to look at because I can't tell which one's ahead. I think that one's ahead. So I'm going to put my phone down.
So now we're going to just take a moment, get a breather here. No.
Okay. So Graham got the carry. You see there the first down and goal play. Gets him to about the 6 or 7 yard line.
There's no way I'm going to be able to fix these stats now.
That's quite all right. We're going to get through the game. We're going to do the best we can. It is on our monitors here now, second down and goal from the 7 yard line, 10-10 to play in the fourth quarter. Will Graham to the left of the quarterback. High snap. It's a handoff on the jet sweep. Got plenty of blockers in front of him, plunging in, and that is waiting for the official signal, touchdown Harborman. Hingham is an extra point away from taking the lead here in the fourth quarter.
That was seeing Nicholas taking the carry there, finding his way to the end zone. And that ties the game.
Seeing Nicholas with the touchdown carry as we go below 10 minutes to play here in the fourth. An extra point away. Matt Lahiff on to attempt it. Remember, Lahiff was hit in the midsection earlier, may be a bit injured. Kick is up. It is good enough. Hingham has taken the lead, 28-27. 10 minutes to play in this one. It's coming down to the wire, Dan Bolak.
Indeed it is. So just try to fix my stats now.
Good luck.
I mean, you don't anticipate getting a phone call while you're trying to call off a monitor and then trying to figure out what's going on the other side. I was supposed to be back at work in 10 minutes. I mean, unrelated to the shenanigans with the power that's going on here in Fitchburg, this game has taken a lot longer than we thought it was going to. They kicked off just past 5:30. We're over 2 hours into this game. We're still early in the fourth quarter.
That is true. You know, it's been so long since I called a football game, I haven't really thought about it. But yeah, this feels like a pretty long football game. But, you know, there's more stoppages. They're doing the mask breaks. I guess that adds a little bit of time. Also, just, you know, up and down the field, so many first downs. You're constantly stopping the clock. It does make sense.
Indeed it does.
All right, so Hingham will kick off. High kick, going to be brought in at about the 15-yard line. Return up past the 30, 40, gets a good block, turns the corner across midfield, and finally shoved out of bounds is Brian Rivera. Another Harborman slow to get up. That's the gentleman we've been pointing out in the past. That's Grant Van Zora. A little bit slow, but he's getting off under his own power.
The Raiders are going to actually start this drive in Hingham territory here on a 37-yard kickoff return by Brian Rivera.
A really, really good return there by Rivera. How are your stats looking? Are you good to take over play-by-play? I don't want to take the whole game from you.
Yep, I'm just going to say 56 yards of offense are going to the team, and I'm just not going to read off Hingham stats anymore because they're not going to be right anymore.
Good enough.
So I can give you team stats, and they're just under 300 yards right now.
All right, take us home, Dan.
So 1st and 10, handoff for Aquendo up the middle. A lot of bodies there to try to contest, and ultimately Aquendo down just past the 45-yard line, a gain of a few. And another Red Raider is on the ground right now.
Injury after injury, stoppage after stoppage. Fortunately able to get up under his own power. This is Emmy Pastorino. We've seen a number of Raiders go down. We saw Maz Newton on the second play of the game unfortunately suffered an injury. We have not seen him return. We'll have to keep an eye out for him in future weeks. Maybe try to get a status update if we can.
So now it will be 2nd down and 6 to go. See the 2 backs there, Barisano and Oquendo. And go with Barisano this time, cutting to his right. He's got some space on the right side at the 30-yard line. Stutter steps 25, trying to make another move. There are 2 Harbormen there to stop his progress in Will Griffin and Liam Collins. But still a great gain for Barisano and another 1st down for the Red Raiders.
And really good downfield blocking by Brian Rivera. You know, it's really easy for us, and we are absolutely guilty of it. I won't pretend we don't do it, to assign all of the credit for the running game to the individual talent of Barisano and Anthony Oquendo. And no doubt about it, Dan, they're fantastic players. They've both had great games, but it's the blocking of the offensive line, and on that play it was the downfield blocking of Brian Rivera that really helped Barisano get those extra yards.
And Barisano now over 100 yards, and now Montgomery Graham going to keep it himself. That was an option. Had it in Barisano's hands for a while and then finally pulled it out and ran with it himself up the middle. Gets some on that.
I was going to say, Daniel, we've seen a couple of play calls from the Raiders that looked like just designed QB runs, right? Where it's designed as do a play fake, keep it yourself, get what you can. That was the first one Fitchburg's run where I really looked at it and I said, that's an option. Graham has the choice there, and I think it's good for Fitchburg to have that possibility. If they can work in some option plays, it really opens up a lot of possibilities because you've got 2 explosive running backs and a really talented rushing quarterback in Montgomery Graham.
Oquendo goes in motion this time. Barisano with the keep, and he's going to run to the end zone. Touchdown, Red Raiders! Devin Barisano, his 3rd touchdown of the night. And the Red Raiders retake the lead.
I think Devin Barisano just got a new PlayStation controller and he's trying out the right analog stick. Just, juke to the right, juke to the right, juke to the right. He did it 3 times on that carry. They were all perfect. They all left Harborman defenders in his wake. He takes it to the end zone. He gives the Raiders the lead once more. They will try to extend the margin to 6.
So, once again out to kick the extra point, Alexander McCloskey. 3 for 4 in the contest. That one on the ground. Try to improvise the best they could, but that's going to be wide to the left. No good. And so it'll remain 33-28.
I'm surprised they let that play go, Dan. To my eye, Hingham jumped off way too early. Like, there were 3 or 4 Harborman defenders who rushed across the line well before the ball was snapped, and they wound up, actually, hold on, we're doing it again.
That's what they called.
Okay.
We didn't see the flag, but there was a flag on that.
All right, I feel justified. I feel, what's the opposite of aggrieved? I feel grieved. I have been remedied here. I have been made whole by the fact that Hingham was called for jumping over the line. And now, if I can transition into a second point, Fitchburg's got to go for 2 here, right? Like, Hingham's extra point unit is solid. They're making extra points. If I'm Fitchburg and it looks like they are sending the offense back out onto the field here, you go for 2 and you try to get a 7-point lead.
Absolutely. I think that's what you've got to do here because we know how big that extra point is loomed. And if you miss the 2-point conversion, then you miss the 2-point conversion. But I think here, going for 2 is the option here. That's what you've got to do. Barisano's going to have it. 35-28 Red Raiders.
An absolute barn burner of a game in Hingham. I mean, sometimes, Dan, especially in circumstances like this, where it's teams that 4 days ago, neither team knew they were playing this team on this day. They were preparing for other teams. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, Fitchburg has to go from getting themselves amped up to go to Leominster to face their arch rivals to basically do Thanksgiving 6 months later. It's going to be great. And they have the letdown and they go to Hingham, right? A game like that has the potential to not be entertaining. A game like that has the potential to just kind of be there and to be not necessarily a slog, but not like super entertaining, right? This game has been a delight. Like, just as a fan, this has been an incredibly entertaining game to watch.
Just been one play after another. These two teams have been going at it. Fitchburg now over 400 yards of offense in this contest.
As the kickoff is away, looks like there's a pile at about the 33-yard line. It's just going to be fallen on. Early indications are that it is red ball, and it is, in fact, going to be Hingham's football. They'll take over 1st and 10 at about their own 33-yard line. You got your phone up there, Dan?
Yep, I got it up.
Cool.
And so I didn't see I did not pay attention to the timer. I think there was maybe about, how many?
I didn't see.
Okay, so.
We lost our monitor and had to pull out our phones, and in that time, the nice camera operator in Hingham shot the screen. So we don't know. But, we got it so horribly wrong in the second quarter. You want to try it again? I'm going to say it feels like 6:15. Does that feel about right? I like 6:15.
We'll run it. We'll try it.
Okay.
So, about 6 minutes to go in this game. Hingham down by 7 now. The Red Raiders have retaken the lead. And this is Petrillo trying to find his way up the middle. Bounces off the line. Able to get a little more forward progress. Got a pretty good run there on 1st down. A little more than half the yards he needed, I believe.
Yeah, altogether, it's, a 5-6 yard plunge right up the middle. Not the fanciest gain in the world, but it'll certainly be effective. I mean, if you're going to get 6 yards every time you hand the ball off, you hand the ball off every time and you eventually score.
And now it'll be 2nd down and
2nd and about 4 here for Hingham.
and a long stretch pass down the field. The deep home run ball is just overthrown. Incomplete, 7:05 to go in the game.
Okay, so I was wrong.
Well, that time we overshot.
We thought more time had elapsed than actually had, and if you're a Hingham supporter, you certainly appreciate that, getting more time to try to launch the comeback. That time, Dan, it looked like Pierce faked a handoff to nobody in particular. Like there was no one in the backfield with him.
It's one of those, muscle memory habits. Here's a throw to the right side. That's complete to Estes, trying to break out of some tackles, trying to get to the line to gain. He's not going to get there. And that's going to bring up 4th down, as they're going to spot him at the 41.
Kind of an interesting decision for Hingham here, but I think the play is to punt. You've got to trust your defense at some point. And if you turn it over on downs here, that is disaster for the Harbormen.
403 yards of offense for the Red Raiders today, 305 yards of offense for Hingham. And it's 4th down, and they are going for it.
Oh, my. A big call for Hingham. I got to say, I like the aggression.
Now they're finally going and showing that they are that type of team, and now they're going to call timeout. I think maybe what they're trying to do, because they've already done this twice to success, was trying to draw the Red Raiders off sides, but they didn't bite this time.
This time they didn't bite. Fitchburg finally showing the discipline that has been lacking for them going back to last season, all the way back to the fall of 2019. They show some discipline there. They don't give Hingham the 1st down, and now perhaps the Harbormen will decide to kick it after all.
As we heard, this is a team that is pretty aggressive on 4th down, and that's how it's historically been. And maybe they do still decide to go for it. I mean, we don't know exactly the status there of Matt Lahiff, who took a shot to the gut earlier and was laboring on that last punt. But, he's on the field. He's walking around. He's probably at a more fit than he was before. But it does lead to that question now. Do you punt?
I think they're going to kick it, Dan.
All right.
Also, you are the only one of us who can watch the game right now. My phone has decided it doesn't want to connect to anything.
Oh, boy. So, we're trying to get on the best we can here, so looking at how they're setting up, no, they are very much going to go for it here. Unless they're going to try to draw him again. And the player who was drawn was a player on Hingham. That was Petrullo, who jumped and misread the snap count.
We've seen it bite them once before. That hard count on 4th down leading to a false start. I think the first time it happened to Hingham wasn't on 4th down. This time it definitely was. And now it will definitely bring out the kicking unit.
And now as we see the monitor come back up, you now see it happening. So I'm going to put my phone away because that was ahead. They're getting ready to actually punt.
That's fine.
So
we're getting through it. We are going to make it through this football game if it kills us. There's a Mountain Goat song about that.
It's a Lahif will punt it away. It's going to bounce and take a favorable roll for Hingham at the 41, and it's going to go 10 more yards after that. Touchdown at the 31-yard line. 5:56 to go, 4th quarter. Red Raiders 35, Harborman 28.
So, Dan, a lot of the offense for Fitchburg has come on the ground, but it's come in big chunks. You know, a 35-yard run for Oquendo, a 40-yard run for Barisano. What Fitchburg needs now is 5-yard runs, even 4-yard runs. If you can get 3 4-yard runs, you've got a first down and you've burned a bunch of time. If you can do that 3-4 times in a row, game over.
That's what they'll need right now, just to get consistent yardage on the ground and keep that clock running as well. 1st and 10 for the Raiders from their own 31. Barisano going to cut up the middle. He's got that 5 yards there. Now he's going to cut back. He's got some space on the right side. Graham even doing some blocking out there as he's down at the 45-yard line.
I was talking up the downfield blocking by the receivers. How about some downfield blocking by your quarterback? Montgomery Graham throwing a block, springing Barisano for a first down. Devin Barisano, we saw him slow to get up once before. Now he is severely hobbled, actually. Finally able to hustle off the field, but he will head to the sidelines. An extra running back, will check in for Fitchburg. Dan, is that guy wearing 25?
Possibly.
Seriously? It's Duncan Poitras. I don't care. We're going to say it's Duncan Poitras.
It seems reasonable. He was taking some snaps last season. This is going to be Oquendo this time, going to the right side, and Oquendo staying on his feet. He's going to have another first down. Into Hingham territory yet again at the 42-yard line. As slow to get up now is Ryan Devine for the Harbormen.
I mean, I was saying that the Raiders really needed those 4-yard gains to chew up the clock. At the same time, if you put the ball in the end zone, that's also pretty much game over. So, I mean, as long as you're moving the ball, they don't have to be small chunks. Big chunks are okay, too.
And the Red Raiders will be happy to take their time on these as well. 40-second play clock in NFHS football. And the Raiders are going to take as much as they can. They're going to watch for that back referee who's keeping the play clock. Watch his signals and then get ready when they know it's coming to 10 seconds to 5 seconds. They're going to run some clock down here. And now here is the run on first down. And not much gained there for Duncan Poitras. His first run of the day.
That is, in fact, Duncan Poitras. Saw him check in, and I was afraid he was wearing 25 because there's no 25 on your program. But, in fact, he is number 26. So that's reasonably simple. Just 22 carries for Duncan last season, under 100 yards, but pretty good average.
And Poitras, a sophomore last year as well, so still very young in the backfield for the Red Raiders. Now just a junior this year, as opposed to, then again, Oquendo, a junior as well. So 2nd down, 9 to go. And it's going to be Graham who takes it out of Poitras' hands. And Graham stumbles a little bit as he crossed the 35-yard line, got tangled with some feet, I think. Very close to the marker.
Dan, I don't know if that was an intentional option or if Graham just decided to pull it back himself when he realized that he had John O'Connor dead to rights. O'Connor had sold out to stop the handoff up the middle, and when Montgomery Graham pulled that ball back and took it out to the right side, there was nothing O'Connor could do to stop him, and it became a pretty darn easy first down run for the Red Raider quarterback.
Indeed, it's not going to be enough for a first down, but
Okay, it was a pretty darn easy 8-yard run.
that's exactly what it was. But now 3rd down and 1 to go from the 34-yard line. Raiders are 4 for 7 on 3rd down today. And, ooh, did Hingham jump that time?
Somebody jumped. I think I saw movement on both sides. Fitchburg is congratulating themselves.
The referee wants to double check and make sure. And it was Hingham.
Encroachment is the call. How the turntables. 5-yard penalty against the Harbormen gives the Red Raiders a first down. Fitchburg still moving the ball, looking to chew as much of this clock as they possibly can. Maybe punch it in for a game-sealing touchdown.
Red Raiders lead 35-28. And we saw the Red Raiders get bit by that twice earlier in this contest. Now Hingham tasting that bitter offside as Aquendo up the middle, moving his feet, finds his way past the 25-yard line, going ever further into Harborman territory. They'll spot him at the 23.
And Dan, this is going to sound a little weird. On that play, we hear, and we can hear it right now, there's one fan who has like a little metal noisemaker, and the metal noisemaker sounds were very slow and dispirited. It sounds like the life is being sucked out of the Hingham crowd by this dominant Fitchburg ground game, and that's what you want if you're a Red Raider supporter. You want your offense here to just choke the life out of the Hingham defense, to wear them down, to get this final touchdown to seal the game here. Fitchburg looking to go up 2 scores and salt this one away.
And Graham's going to take it himself, going to find the right flank, trying to get to the marker. He's close to the marker. He's not quite there.
Not quite there indeed. Saw one of the Hingham defenders signaling that it should be 4th down. That man might need to take some extra math tutoring. It is 3rd down.
And also that extra tackle coming in at the end, I think that was a shot to Graham that has hurt him.
Did see someone come in right as Graham went to the ground. He got hit basically right in the back. Montgomery Graham is down. Needless to say, that is a huge potential loss to the Fitchburg offense.
And that's been a thing with this game too, is just how many people have gotten hurt.
You know, it is, for as much practice as there has been, this is the first game for Fitchburg and only the 2nd game for Hingham since Thanksgiving 2019. It has been a year and a half, and a lot has happened in the last year and a half. Maybe guys not entirely, even again with, ramping up for the fall and then ramping up again for the fall too. There's only so much you can do before you get back into live game action. Of course, a hit like that, that's just, you hope Graham is okay. Looks like he is going to be able to get up, be helped off the field. Fitchburg will go back to the backup quarterback. We saw Philip Arpano for one play back in the first half after Graham just incidentally had his helmet taken off. Have to believe, Dan, that Arpano is going to be the man tasked with seeing the Raiders home here.
We also saw Tyler Broussard last year playing quarterback for the Red Raiders as a freshman. But we'll see who we get in the backfield. Most likely, that's not helpful. Just at the worst possible angle, but we'll assume it's Arpano. And this is a 3rd and 1 for the Raiders. And out to the left side, Aquendo trying to find his way, bounces off. No, that's Poitras, excuse me. And trying to bounce off whoever he could. It was Javon Falcon, I think, that was actually taking the snap, because that was 17, wasn't it?
No, it was 13 took the snap.
It was 13?
Yep.
Well, anyway, Duncan Poitras ended up as the ball carrier, and he ran some clock down, and Hingham has surely called timeout here.
Timeout called by the Harbormen. Poitras did a lot of running around, a lot of trying to find the open spot there. You know, ran to his left, ran to his right, spun back a couple of times. Ultimately, I don't believe he got what he needed.
All that really he succeeded in doing was running some time off the clock, but he ended up losing a couple of yards. They've spotted him at the 23-yard line, a loss of 3 yards on that.
I mean, Dan, if it's 4th and 4 at the opposing 23 and a first down gives you the win, I think you go for it. I mean, what are you going to do, punt?
Yeah, I can't punt from here. It's a 40-yard field goal.
You're not going to kick a 40-yard field goal.
I'm not confident in the leg of Alexander McCloskey, even with the wind in their favor, to kick from 40, so you've got to go for it in this spot.
Yeah, the Raiders will, in fact, go for it. Or perhaps just try to draw the Harbormen off. What delicious irony that would be.
Especially if you get them twice in one series. Arpano trying to call out the plays. Trying to make them jump. Need to get to the 19 for a first down. We're late in the fourth quarter. Here's the handoff to Barisano. He's not going to find the room he needs as everybody wraps him up. And Hingham's going to get the ball back with a little bit of time to work with.
The Harbormen will have a chance. We will take a look at the clock. 1 minute and 2 seconds. No timeouts. 62 seconds is all Hingham has, but they have a chance. They need 75 yards, and after that, they need an extra point. But let's get the touchdown first if you're a Hingham supporter. Meanwhile, for the Red Raiders, the offense ran a lot of clock on that drive, couldn't quite get all of it. But you're in a very, very good spot here. Now the defense needs to stand tall.
Yeah, we now know a first down would have very much won the game for the Red Raiders, but now Hingham's got a chance. Looking for their second win of 2021. Pierce with the throw out to the near side is incomplete. Diving, trying to pull that one in, was Cooper Estes.
Well drawn up play there, Dan. Just try to get it in little chunks, get out of bounds. You know, that a play like that, if it hits, you know, it's an 8-yard gain, you get out of bounds, that's okay. That only burns 3-4 seconds. Unfortunately, the accuracy just wasn't there.
Now it'll be 2nd and 10. Under a minute to go from Hingham. Throw over the middle, incomplete.
Just wasn't looking for the ball. Like, Cian Nicholas was wide open, but he wasn't looking for the ball yet.
He wasn't seeing the ball, that's for sure.
That was awful. I appreciate it, but I want you and everyone at home to know that was awful. Oh, God, I've missed this.
Punts are not my strong suit, you know that, John.
Punts are nobody's strong suit. That's what makes them great.
3rd and 10 now for the Harbormen. As Pierce whistles before the throw, Estes caught it, but there are other problems there.
It's a flag deep in the backfield on the far side. That's the Fitchburg side. Maybe get an illegal procedure penalty against Hingham or sideline infraction on the Raiders.
Too many men?
Could well be.
It's an interesting place for a flag.
The officials appear to be indicating that it is against Fitchburg. Dan, help me. What's that?
I've actually got a spreadsheet with these, and
I think that's too many men.
Substitution infraction.
Okay, that counts.
That's signal number 22 he gave.
Okay.
According to the NFHS penalty signal there, but yeah.
So tell us, what is the penalty for a substitution infraction?
I believe it'd be 5 yards.
Okay.
And they'll repeat the down.
So instead of 3rd and 10, it will be 3rd and 5 for Hingham. Officials appear to be indicating that they want 43 seconds put back on the clock.
Because I imagine the clock probably ran a little bit.
Yeah, they probably started the clock with that play that was not to be. So it is 3rd down and 5 now for the Harbormen. 43 seconds left to play in the game. You can see there Devin Barisano trying to rally the Fitchburg sideline and the fans who have made the drive to Fitchburg They've had a long day. It's been a long night at the office down there in Hingham. If they get 2 more stops here, it will all be worth it.
3rd down and 10. There's the man in motion from the far side. Gonna fake the handoff to him. Pass is complete to Petrillo. He's at the 40, trying to cut to the sideline. Not gonna get there, but he'll be down at the 45-yard line. Now they gotta rush to the line.
Petrillo spent a lot of time, Dan, running laterally instead of going upfield. They're going to stop the clock to move the chains. You've got to keep moving and get as much yardage as you can there. Snap it and spike it. It'll be 2nd and 10 for Hingham at their own 45-yard line. They were saying 43 seconds on the clock before the last play. It's got to be, something like 30 probably?
In that vicinity, it's got to be. May even be less than that. I'm thinking maybe 20, 25 seconds.
Well, you know what, Dan? We have technology. We have smartphones. We can keep our own stopwatches and guess.
Yep, I mean, honestly, these smartphones have been a lifesaver for us today.
Absolutely. At one point, they were a lightsaber. They were the only way I could see my notes.
So 2nd and 10 for Hingham as Pierce rolls to the right. A lot of space to run forward. They'll concede that. Throw downfield, and that is caught.
2 major play developments on that play. First of all, for Hingham, the big gain way downfield. And secondly, as we pulled out wide, there's still 40 seconds on the clock. Hingham has plenty of time with which to work as they look to tie this game up.
They'll start the clock and then stop it as Pierce will spike it with 37 seconds left.
Okay. So now, and quite honestly, I should have been doing this the whole game, and I apologize, I'm going to try to keep time unofficially. There are 37 seconds left on the clock. We'll see just how much gets run off. It'll be 2nd down and 10 for Hingham at the Fitchburg 24-yard line. Scary, desperate times for Fitchburg High.
Pierce will throw near side. That's going to be caught. And it's fumbled!
Believe the fumble went out of bounds before Fitchburg recovered it.
I believe so as well. It would go to the spot of the fumble in that case.
Fitchburg is saying they have the ball. To my eye, Fitchburg did not recover before it went out of bounds. There were only Raiders in the area of it, so if anyone got it, it was Fitchburg, but I'm pretty sure that ball went out of bounds, and that is going to be the indication. That took about 6 seconds.
So they'll spot it at the 17-yard line. It'll be another 1st down for Hingham. Pierce with the snap, looking to his right, looking all day to his right. Throw juggled for, incomplete.
So very close. And Dan, do you know who was there on the coverage who got a hand up and kind of swatted at that ball and may well have played a hand in the receiver being unable to make the catch? Anthony Oquendo. Anthony Oquendo, who has been such a force offensively, doing it on defense as well.
He is a safety after all. 2nd and 10. And a quick short pass to Petrillo. That is complete. But he's going to be wrapped up by Poitras at the 25-yard line, and that clock's going to be ticking.
Time is ticking.
Not a lot of time to work with for Hingham. They've got to spike it. They'll do so now.
Maybe time for one more play. By my clock, there was 21 seconds of clock movement there, and I think there were only 23 unofficially at the snap. It's got to be down to single digits now for Hingham. And, oh, by the way, it's 4th down, too. There you see it. 2 seconds on the scoreboard clock. This is going to be the last play of the game. Hingham needs the end zone.
15 yards to pay dirt. Nothing less than 15 yards will keep Hingham in this contest.
And for Fitchburg, it's got to be about discipline. You can't commit a penalty here.
And Pierce looking to the right side, looking for the corner, overthrown! That's going to end the game! The Red Raiders have come down to Hingham, to the South Shore, and vanquished the Harbormen, 35-28.
An incredible game. The defense finally gets a big stop when they need it after all the action in the first quarter. Our thanks to the folks in Hingham and Defy Video Productions for making that possible. And let's welcome you all back here to the Workers Credit Union studios at FATV here on Kimball Street in Fitchburg, where, as you can probably tell, it looks a little different. We've had an eventful evening here at FATV. You can even see my glasses fogging up on screen. That's amazing. So, I'm John Gugerty, joined as always by Dan Bolak. Dan, I mean, let's put aside the drama that started before the game, with Leominster falling out and with Duxbury being Duxbury. Let's put aside that drama. Let's put aside all of the drama that happened here in the studio and the reason it's very dark and we each have exactly one light on us. Let's just talk about that football game. That was an incredible football game.
Oh, my goodness.
That
one
was
of the best games.
That was one of the most fun, most back and forth, up and down, topsy-turvy football games I can remember calling in years here on FATV.
I mean,
What a game.
This is going to go right up the list, so high up on the list of the most memorable games I've ever called in my 11 years of doing sports ball announcing, your over a dozen years of calling sports. And yes, I said sports ball, but...
Hey, it's fine.
Yeah, but my goodness, these two teams going at it like two heavyweights, basically. Just back and forth they went, and ultimately, these two teams, I'm looking at the stats, and it looks like they finished with 802 yards of offense between the two teams. 360 for Hingham, 442 for the Red Raiders. I mean, it was just drama all the way down, even to the very end.
It's incredible. It's incredible to talk about and just think about the folks. We apologize. Dan and I are looking at each other, and our shots are mirrored, so it's going to be a little weird for you. We apologize for that. But it's just been. It was such a good game. It was just. I keep going back on the explosive plays from Fitchburg, Anthony Oquendo, Devin Barasano, even some incredible plays from Montgomery Graham, who we certainly hope is okay after leaving the game with an injury late in the fourth quarter. Just an incredible game for Fitchburg's offense. The defense, a little bit shaky at times. The first quarter, very, very, very solid. And then through the second to third, most of the fourth quarter, Hingham was able to match Fitchburg kind of punch for punch until the very end, at the very last moment when they needed the stop, they got the stop. And it was just... Fitchburg's offense was fantastic in this game. The defense did just enough. If this is the kind of season we have to look forward to from Fitchburg, it's going to be a heck of a season of Red Raider football.
Oh, you have to imagine going to be a lot of excitement. You see the schedule: Grafton, North Middlesex, Westboro, Oakmont. Another thought, too, is, Hingham is a Division III team. They're a higher division than Fitchburg is, a Division IV team. It's D4 Grafton, D4 North Middlesex, D4 Westboro, D5 Oakmont is the schedule. We might be able to get the Leominster game in their Division 3. We might be able to get that in down the line in place of one of those games. We'll have to see how things shake out in that regard. But a first week of the season, a first test for the Red Raiders. They've been away for so long. They come back. They have to go down to Hingham on short notice. I mean, a little more than 2 days preparation. Not a lot of time to really prepare, but... They treated us to one heck of a game, and just seeing, Greg Graham said it, we want to bring the wow factor. They brought the wow factor to the South Shore.
There was a lot of wow. There was an awful lot of wow from Fitchburg, especially, again, on the offensive side of the ball. You really can't say enough about the contributions by Anthony Oquendo, by Devin Barasano, by Montgomery Graham, and the work the receivers did with their downfield blocking, with the few catches that they were able to make. That first touchdown pass to Darnell Thomas, that was a fantastic throw, but it was a great catch as well, and then Thomas in the open field was able to get in for the end zone. How about the night though, for Devin Barisano. I mean, 3 rushing touchdowns for him and that key 2-point conversion that made it a 7-point game at the end of the game that made up for the botched extra point back in the first quarter. Just a fantastic game, kind of a statement game for him as he starts off his junior year.
I think one of the things you might not even have guessed, he actually finished with a bigger rushing average than Oquendo by my stats. 11.1 yards per carry, 14 carries for 155 yards and 3 touchdowns. Anthony Oquendo, 18 carries for 184 yards and a touchdown, averaging 10.2 yards per carry.
I mean, if you've got 2 running backs averaging over 10 yards, I do want to apologize, I misspoke. Those guys are entering their senior seasons, not their junior years. But still, if you've got 2 running backs who average 10 yards a carry and a quarterback who is a running option himself, there's a lot to look forward to from the Fitchburg offense.
And Montgomery Graham had 10 carries for 81 yards as well, contributing to the running game. Just those 3 players in the backfield just have to instill fear in the defense and just how well they're able to play, because they are just threats. Whoever's taking the ball there is a threat to gain big yardage, and they all showed it today.
Absolutely. It was really fun game, just a fantastic game to call. So much to look forward to over the next 4 games. Obviously, again, everything up in the air. We're playing football in March and April, so things are a little shaky here. But just this coming week, coming up on FATV this week, you see there on your screen, Monty Tech Boys Soccer taking on Abbey Kelly Foster. That'll be on the 30th at 4 o'clock. Fitchburg High Girls Volleyball, the JV and varsity teams, will be taking on Hudson. Monty Tech Girls Soccer will be facing Worcester South on April Fool's Day. And then next Friday at 4 p.m., Fitchburg High School football against Grafton. All of those games right here on FATV.
And, of course, you can also enjoy FATV programming in high definition, available on these streaming devices. On Apple TV, search for FATV in the Apple TV App Store. On Fire TV, search for FATV in the Fire TV App Game Store. And on Roku, search for PEG.TV in the Roku App Store. And then within PEG TV, search for FATV. And a lot of great options there. And I imagine a bunch of you at home were using these or watching on FATV.org to get this game across. We know it's been a very, very crazy game, not just in Hingham, but I know here.
It's been crazy in Fitchburg, too.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we have this setup. I mean, an infinite credit to Nate Glennie and Travis
So
Falk.
much. Absolutely. Like, basically, starting from halftime until maybe 2 minutes left in the game, Nate and Travis were just running all over the place, trying to get things set up. I am pretty sure that we're running everything out of the truck now because I hear a big engine running in the background. So super fantastic. Credit to them for keeping us on the air, for being able to bring this game to you. We also want to thank, while we have a chance and while we're on the subject, the underwriters who make this and every remote broadcast possible. FATV's remote productions, you can see them there, are underwritten by Workers Credit Union, and we are in the Workers Credit Union studios here at FATV. We're also underwritten by Rollstone Bank and Trust, UMass Memorial Health Alliance Clinton Hospital, North End Subaru Research Results, Unitil, Minuteman Press, MART, and the Sentinel and Enterprise. Thanks to them for all of their contributions that help us keep, well, I would say keep the lights on, but, there are 2 lights in the room, so keep the lights on here at FATV.
My goodness. I mean, when we started on the air, we knew this was going to be interesting. After all, broadcasting the game remotely here from the Workers Credit Union studios. I mean, we had a little bit of experience doing remote broadcasts during the fall with our soccer coverage. In that case, we were doing it from our own homes, myself here in Fitchburg, you from West Springfield, and Nate Glennie was feeding us the video. And we were doing that all on delay. This was the first time we tried doing a remote broadcast with live video.
And the first time that we were integrating the studio into the process. And then, unbeknownst to us, there was a gigantic windstorm and half the city doesn't have power.
I mean, this is going to be, like I said, the game alone was already one of the most memorable games I've called in a long time, but just all the circumstances around it, my goodness.
We will never forget this game. This has been a heck of a game. It's just been... Dan, I don't want to stand on a sour note, but we do want to remember one more time doing all of this in memory of Dave Clark. This has been my first broadcast here on FATV since his passing, and just I think of the laughs Dave would have had in a situation like this. That would have been crazy. But this was a heck of a night. This was an incredible night of broadcasting. I think the two of us did okay. I think we did all right. You know what? I don't think they're going to cut our pay after this.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
We got through this. We found a way to get through this. We never stopped. We started. We never stopped.
Oh, God. All right. I think that's going to do it for us here tonight from FATV. For the incredibly talented crew, Nate Glennie, Travis Falk in the control room, and also everywhere else here in the studios of FATV, and for my broadcast partner, Dan Bolek, I'm John Gugerty. Thank you all so much for being with us. We will see you next time right here on FATV.